You like doing a Jarrett? Or Louis, you set to do a Jarrett?
Oh, we're actually live, are we? Yeah.
Aw, you ruined it.
What did I do? I'm looking at the time.
We're
and it's
supposed
like
to
59 on my
stealth
time.
it, you know,
It's-
do a Jarrett. Aw.
I didn't
Louis
get
is
the
so...
memo.
You're always on point. That's the thing. It's so hard to
Hello,
get
everybody.
anything past Louis. There's no getting anything past Louis. He is a hawk.
Dad knows all.
Dad knows and sees everything. And here we've got
Oh,
Shaq
damn.
still trying to find the screen share. Where's the screen share? So from
Dude, I just
left
fly,
to
man. I don't
right,
know
who have we
anything
got?
else.
We got myself here, Black Maze. Then we got Shaq New. Then we've got Luigi. Then we've got Osashis in random order. Not ranked by beauty.
Unless
Or-
you flipped it.
Probably
know.
ranked by beauty, left to right.
I didn't touch
At
it.
least
I
I'm not
didn't touch
last.
it.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Extreme G podcast titled The
Nevermore, the gang is all
Awakening. The Awakening. This is pretty cool, though, because we've got the official XGR gang like all together on the stream. Oh, actually, not all together. We're missing Marble Mace, I should mention, but we've got
Yes.
a good significant group here. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
It's been
Thanks
a
for
hot
having
minute.
us
It's been
too,
too
you know.
long. Oh yeah.
So how's everyone doing?
Darn case. This is how Shackman looks like. Yes, that's how Shackman looks like.
Not as
Mr.
robotic as
Robot.
everyone thought.
It's really just
Robotic on the
ChatGPT or whatever.
inside.
Yeah, it's one of those filters. We tried
That's why
to
you
make
see
him look
he's all
human.
pixelated. He's all pixelated. It's just AI generated.
Exactly. We did our best. But hey, how's everyone doing? Have you guys been playing any Star Citizen? Are you doing anything else? What's been going on for you this week?
No Star Citizen for me. I've been down in Florida enjoying the weather. I just flew back in yesterday, and it's freaking cold up here, man.
You've been busy though.
Oh yeah, very busy. Oh yeah.
What have you been doing?
If you mind telling us, if you're able to tell us what you've been
Yeah,
doing.
I can say some stuff. So I work for Northrop Grumman's Tactical Space Systems. It's just a fancy way of saying that I build spacecraft in the integration and test department. And we are on a launch campaign down in Florida where we're integrating it into a Falcon 9 rocket. So yeah.
Sickest job,
This is
dude.
amazing.
I mean, this is so cool. We've seen a picture or two, and it's just I said it looks like Kerbal Space Program, dude. It's so funny seeing it's just 1-to-1.
Secretly, he's just a McDonald's manager, and he just had to go fill in for somebody in a different state for a couple weeks.
You made an interesting comment based on a picture. Lunch lady, you said?
Yeah. Got the little hats on, and that's awesome. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. What about you, Louis and Ty, Osashis? What have you guys been up to?
Oh, not much. I've had the week off, had some bad family news, and then been enjoying some Star Citizen for a bit, and then with you guys preparing for this podcast and a bunch of exciting things.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
Those we've talked about it. Obviously, I had to make a trip over to Europe for a couple weeks for the first time for work.
Yes,
Got to spend a lot of time with Black Maze, which was really fun. He was a great host, and we got to spend a weekend with Louis. So, fortunately, we didn't get Shaq with us, but we had a great time the past couple weeks.
Yeah. Next
it was
time,
an amazing
hopefully, Los Angeles, and we can all be together. That'd be super dope.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I know,
we'll
for
see how that
Citizen
goes.
Con.
We'll have to see what we can muster. But it was great to meet you guys. It was super cool to have you. We had an awesome weekend showing you Amsterdam and whatnot. And that's been a pleasure. XGR meetup when? Soon, hopefully. We should set something up.
Yeah. Soon
What have you
to
guys-
for sure.
What have you guys been up to with Star Citizen? Me personally, I've dabbled into PTU, tested a bunch of things. But I've also not been able to actually play as much as I like because there was so much to do for XGR and 318 and the new year. So a lot of it has just been like behind the scenes boring stuff, but also very exciting because the future is awesome. What have you guys been up to?
I wish I had more time in the PTU. I've just been so focused on the Daymar Rally with Louis
Yes.
and Mad Cat and Steve. So as soon as we got done with that, I probably spent a week in the PTU testing out the tracks and seeing how the hitching feels on certain places. But other than that, yeah, not too much in the PTU.
First, a congratulations again. We've celebrated it at length, but the XGR team running the Daymar Rally, Atmos Daymar Rally, obviously winning the truck division with Shaqnu behind the steering wheel, Luigi and Steve and Matt Cat all supporting. That was quite an endeavor.
For anybody that could see the amount of practice those guys put in, you wouldn't be surprised to see they came away with the win because it was an insane amount of dedication. Awesome.
Yeah,
stuff.
we call Shaqnu the robot, right? The Shaq bot. It's because he's so systematic and clinical about his approach, and it really does show. It's awesome.
It's got its pros and cons, but
I'm sure it does, Mr. Engineer. What about our team manager, Louis? How did you enjoy the Daymar Rally then, as the kind of official team leader, eh?
Well, it was fine. It was more like having a bit of practice because we haven't done a bit of races and stuff for race directing, but it's I want to say it's thanks to these guys because I didn't do this by myself. Because even being a team leader, they were listening to suggestions, they were giving suggestions themselves, and we're able to get a little bit from everyone. And this is how we became champions. So that was a great team effort. But leading, I know I still have some more stuff to learn based on feedback. So I guess it's how we do this and everything we do. We ask for feedback and we want to better ourselves. And it's the same thing for us at XGR. So, yeah.
Dude, whether it's race directing or team leading, though, you have this general, or how do you say this? It's kind of like in your nature, and it's been great from the start. The way you hoarded these guys together, right? Like it wouldn't have been the same without your guidance there, though. Like don't sell yourself short.
Louis has
for a
that
reason.
Louis has that natural born gift of a leader, but the good kind. You know how you have some guys that are just bossy and dicks, and then you have guys like Louis that are just big hug old teddy bear dad types that are awesome leaders. Louis has that, just born with that trait.
I mean, you say teddy bear huggy, yeah, sure, but have you heard him though? I mean, he can be quite.
That's why you want though. It's like that dad. It's like, oh, he's disappointed in me, not he's being angry at me. He's just disappointed.
That's right.
That is a good one. I think it's a thing of, specifically I've looked how other people have been doing it also in the racing community and also in real life too. Like, for example, F1 Mistake by, Mazzy, who's not there anymore. But yeah, focus on what you're doing and also be fair and also stay impartial and not have favorites. And I think that's why everyone called me like, oh yeah, Discord dad and all that stuff. But it's putting the work into it, even if it's just us, adults playing video games online and whatever. But
yeah, so true.
But yeah, who's next? Let's see. Definitely a dick when he has to be. Yes, Speedweed. Yes, and this is why you actually do listen. But but yeah. So what do we have?
Well, we got all sorts of stuff to talk about. But just easing into it. Really quick. Sorry, I wanted to give a shout out everyone in chat. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. That's awesome. And big shout out to my mom and dad, who I know are watching this, and Maze's parents as well.
And
so
hey
guys,
hi mom, hi dad. Hope you're doing
love you guys.
You say danke or dankjewel?
Yeah, that's right. So we have had a bit of a dry spell. We just kind of talked about what we have been doing, but what else have we been doing? Race directing.
Yeah.
Or race directing, the racing school. Sorry, like.
Yeah. That's actually a big part. So everyone knows recently Shaqnu kind of joined us as, this crew that's helping manage all this chaos. And a big part of that was in the past, I don't know how long it's been, 8 months or so. We've had this awesome racing school. We've seen tons and tons of new racers come in. some guys really, really impressing us. So Shaq, do you want to just take a couple minutes and kind of talk about how that process started, how it's been going, how it's changed over time, and just give us a little bit about the racing school that some people might not know?
Yeah, so I was approached to being an instructor, focus on ship racing, and built an outline, and Black Maze and the gang helped kind of lay it all out and see how we wanted to go about doing that. And we started off with different levels of difficulty, but I think what we found out is that was scaring new people away when we would hold like a level 2 or a level 3. So just by the way, if you're brand new to racing, you can join any of the classes. Like there's no prerequisite to graduate from one class to go to another. You can just hop right in. Yeah, and man, we started October 10th. That was the first class that we had. We've had 33 classes since, and like almost 100 students, which is crazy. I'd say like 20 to 25 of them are like super consistent and have grown a lot. And we'll mention later, we'll talk about specific people that have been growing a lot. But I mean, it's just been phenomenal going from mostly just racing to being an instructor and just watching people grow and improve. And man, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Dude, you've kicked ass with the racing school though, because I mean, I said to you, it's because like you were rocking it with the time trials, right? You were putting in so much time with these, and because I don't know exactly when you got your Virpals, but it was like I want to say from the moment that you got your Virpals to the point that you started the racing school, you like how many world record time trial submissions did you have at that point?
Most of them were before the Virpals when I flew with the Thrustmasters.
Really?
T16000Ms. Yeah.
Let it be known,
then,
everybody. You don't need Virpals.
It can be done. It can be
You don't
done.
need Virpals. You just get cheap plastic $120 sticks. That's if you love sticks, you could still do it with keyboard and mouse. I personally
Hell yeah.
didn't like
No, it's
keyboard
true.
and mouse,
Yeah.
but I just love the feeling of flying with two sticks.
Yeah.
So
But I was saying like it's just super impressive what you've done with the racing school, because it could have gone any way. We've always talked about, and this is specifically Osashis and I, even in the early days, that we wanted something like this, but it's a really big endeavor. And for Osashis and for myself, it's usually like, okay, if we spend time on racing school, it takes time away from the racing, the hosting. So it just we never got around to it. And then here you are with apparently a lot of time on your hands, absolutely kicking ass with the racing school. And like you said, you've had like 100 unique racers. Like that is like especially toward the end, of the 317 patch cycle where there wasn't a lot of racing going on. Like you carried the XGR community on your shoulders and making it so easy for everybody to learn, because that is one of your biggest motivations, isn't it? To get people up to a level, to get everyone on that competitive level.
yes, absolutely. Competition, that's my biggest drive. The reason why I was grinding the time trials so much was because I saw one guy dominating all the leaderboards, and I'm like, I want to be like that guy. And if
I
we
know
had
that guy.
I'm
who
sure
is
most
that
people
guy?
know who I'm talking. Splen.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. So, we need more Splens, we need more Shack News, we need more people that are just really want to get out there and win and grow and participate in all the races. So yeah, competition, lowering that skill ceiling, that's been my biggest drive.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we've talked about for the longest time. Like ad nauseum really is one of our biggest priorities from the start of XGR was to grow the racing scene. It's tough because people get scared. They see these guys that are already really fast, already good. They don't want to dip in and get embarrassed. So
Right.
lowering that barrier to entry has always been kind of a priority for us. And you've been a dream come true in helping achieve that for sure.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I'm holding back right now because we've got some interesting people we're going to discuss, but like seriously, the caliber that's growing out of this racing school thing is just significant, isn't it? It's just wow.
Definitely, you can see it in the rolls too, of the student rolls on the side, where every week it grows. You know, that little sprout, racing
Green
sprout
everywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Durink says it really well in chat. He says it's raising the skill ceiling but lowering the floor. That's
Yes,
a really
100%.
good way of saying it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So we have a whole lot of new kinds of racing this year. The exhibition races being one of them. We obviously went and did cutter racing, which was really fun. What did you guys think of the cutter races? And because some of you participated. No, Sheknu, you weren't there. So Louis and Osashis, you
He wasn't
participated.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to dip out last minute, but it was fun to watch though.
Yeah, I obviously a little biased because I ended up with a really good day, but yeah, I had a blast with it.
Osashis
Put in a little
won
bit of practice, figured out
for
some
context.
stuff, and it's always fun when we talk about this too, right? Getting stuck doing a lot of commentating, we don't get to race as much, so it's always fun to dip your toes back in. But then you kind of never know because it's like, oh, I'm a little out of practice. So it was fun to come away with a good result.
I really
you did
enjoyed
great.
the 1v1 bracket that we did because you don't really miss out on all the action. Back when we did the Stanton Cup and we had over 40 racers, it's hard to kind of keep track of everything that's going on because either you're in the race or cameraman can't be everywhere at one time. But with the 1v1 races, you see everything, and I love that.
Yeah, we're gonna do
I
more
think it
of
was
that.
something different. It was something different because I usually don't race, so it's kind of like doing the 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah.
And then at some point it's like, okay, Louis, it's your turn. Yeah, it's your bracket now. And I'm over here like, where's my sticks? Like, well, what do I do and everything else? But it was pretty fun. It was good, a good event to do as we were all waiting for stuff from 318 and to come to live. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And also showcasing the new starting ship, the cutter. Since we haven't done that also, but yeah,
really excited for some of this stuff in the future with this, right? Because we have our different types of racing, right? We have cup racing, very, very structured set. We've got our division racing, very structured set. The exhibition racing is more wide open, right? We can take some different ways, bracket racing, some other stuff. So I'm really excited in the future to throw in some events that'll, throw a curveball that people really be a little bit different from the norm of structured racing.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that really stood out to me, and I want to know what you guys think about this as well. I was kind of surprised at how a lot of people struggled to complete the track. And I think it came down to two things: a lack of practice. It was a serious lack of practice. And as a result, people not seeing where the full potential was of the cutter, which was VTOL engines, because only one person really successfully drove them. And he happens to sit on the other side of me and won it. But so what did you guys take away from this event as hosts, as observers, as audience?
I think it showcased the different modes of flying from everyone, because I don't think Osashi's had that, but it's mostly like you as a racer, even if you're stuck knowing how to fly, decoupled speed limiter and everything else. But I think he was not afraid to actually test, switching VTOLs and all that stuff. But let's not forget the different amount of, that there's that last curve on that track, the different amount of lines, racing lines that everybody took. So, yeah.
I think one thing that people could probably pick up on specifically from that race, and even I did, is how important really good control of your verts is for atmospheric racing. It's one thing when you're flying a ship like normal, right? And you got to really balance your verts and be smart about it. But the instant you stick that thing into VTOL, at least the guys that were playing with VTOL, right? It's this instant shift and a really harsh thing. So having good control. And we constantly argue and talk in the Discord about what's best for verts, pinky triggers, twist, pedal. But that was just something that really stuck out to me, that you could tell some people were having a hard time, even if they weren't toggling those, just because the track is so tight in some of those sections, especially through the little cargo valley, it was so low to the ground. Your vert management has to be on point.
Yeah, there's a lot going on mentally too. You gotta really control your nerves in the middle of a race during the whole event. And there are a lot of racers that do really well during practice sessions, but they'll either crumble during a race or not perform as well. So, and a lot of that comes through experience and yeah, but having control over your nerves during a race, it helps a lot.
Couldn't agree more, man. So true.
Right on. Well, talking about exhibition races, we actually have one coming up here very, very quickly that I'm really, really excited about. The the exhibition race we're going to be doing at the new Grey Cat BTR racetrack in
Vision
Orison.
Center.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, it's gonna
definitely.
be sweet. You're doing 1v1 bracket racing, kind of similar to what the cutter racing was. So it's gonna be really cool seeing 1v1 battles each time through this cool new track. And it's not 100% yet, just because it'll depend on scheduling. But right now, we've got a plan for Martin Mills, who's the dev responsible for putting that together, to participate in that event with us, do some racing, some commentating. It's gonna be really, really exciting to have him around for that.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it, Osashas? Because we always try to do this, and so far we've had very great success. Whenever something new comes out and we can race on it, if one of the devs was able to talk about it in an ISC or an SCL, we're always like on it, like hawks, trying to see if we can get them in. And we obviously had Will Hain, who is one of the guys that worked on the rivers, join us, and he flew on the river as well when we were doing the Auroras only, and that's really awesome. So
also DJ Bunton, who's in the chat too.
Yeah. We had actually a few CIG devs, and hopefully we'll end up with something the same here. It's always awesome to have them participate and get in on the shenanigans.
Dude, seeing DJ Bunton, it's always such a pleasure because you can see he is a diehard. Like, he goes all in. We saw, for me, what stands out is Loreville. He joined one of the Loreville events at one point, and he was running
the pirate race.
The pirate. That's right. Yeah, I don't remember how well he did, but I remember him being out in the front at more than one occasion, which was pretty awesome. Anyway,
definitely
derailing, but yeah,
he was in the front during the main race only because I was giving him a ride, and then we were both eaten alive.
Nice. For the Vision Center race, what's gonna be different is that we're streaming it, right? Because the cutter race, we only we kind of did it offline, and then we put a highlights video out, which we'll do for the Vision Center race as well. But we'll be streaming it, so definitely come and check out our Twitch. If you are interested in seeing it, we'll have like cool split screen delivery of the footage. So you'll see the 1v1 happening on screen in real time with one guy here, one guy there, and they're going at it at the same time. So it's going to be really fun to watch the 1v1. We don't yet know, looking at Osashas, whether we're doing a single bracket or a single elimination or double elimination.
It'll depend on the amount of participants we actually get, because we got to squeeze it in with a reasonable amount of time, right? So we'll see on the day for sure. And we got some prizes up for grabs, if I remember right, as well. Yes. So there's lots to be excited about.
Yeah, dude, that's right. We've got the from memory, we've got the PTV that we're giving away to the winner. So if you win the BTR tournament, you can win a PTV. Is it the
STV?
The Steve, it's the new one, the new Grey Cat Steve, as everyone is kind of calling it nowadays, which I like, so I'm trying to embrace it. But that's awesome, which is really cool. I think that's it for prizes for that one. But it's exciting. I look forward to streaming that one. It's going to be interesting with you and me on board, because to have good cameras, we need to be passengers in the car. So it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, those guys that know we're usually flying Reliance, which are like the cameraman ship, right? That's not going to be possible in this case. So we're going to have to get pretty creative with how we film this.
Yeah, we can't take our Reliant in there. CIG, when are we getting drones? We need small, tiny little drones.
Please.
But for now, we'll make do. We'll make do. Yeah, we'll have onboard Steve. That's right. We'll set up, preset external camera and preset on the hood. So depending on where the action is, we'll have hopefully some really exciting footage. And a shout out to Ninjetti, who has been helping us with some of the art to use for overlays and stuff for the stream as well. So really grateful for that as well.
Yeah, awesome stuff he's been doing for us.
Luigi, you're going to be race directing this one with us. Shaqnu, are you going to be driving it, or are you still building rockets at that point? Or satellites?
Yeah, I gotta go back to Florida. I mean, it's still up in the air. Nothing's confirmed, but as of now, I'm gonna be working in the middle of that, so
Such a
I'll
shame.
watch from a distance. Yeah, I know.
So this is your new thing now. Like whenever we're exhibition racing, you're watching that one, which is also fun.
Yeah, definitely. We hope it goes well because the hospital is nearby, so you guys will be fine.
The
Yeah.
hospital. Oh God, you're talking about us in game. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
thinking,
definitely.
what are you talking about?
No, for the Vision
so-
Center.
Quick recap then. Exhibition racing, that's one thing that we're doing this year, but that's like the most unofficial thing that we're doing, which is all about experimentation and just having fun and trying out different formats. But then we've got the division racing. That is the big thing that we're all looking forward to. And it's pretty big. It's kind of complicated, but also very simple. It's based on licenses, and there are 3 different kinds of races that we're doing. So very quick recap. Basically, you start out as a student with XGR. That is if you participate in Shack News Racing School. And then you go racing in the AM League. And if you do well, you'll get yourself an AM license, an amateur license. And that allows you to go racing in the Pro-Am division, which is yet another format with heats. And if you do really well there, you'll be getting your pro license. And then you can go ahead and race in the pro races. And the pro races are live streamed as well. And essentially, the pro races are what we call the pinnacle of spaceship racing, because this is where the bestest of the best guys come together and hash it out.
Oh, yeah.
And win some exciting prizes. And that is super awesome. I'm really looking forward to division racing. What about you guys?
Yeah, I really enjoy the progression system that the division racing is. Each race is like a stepping stone that you have to prove yourself that you're worthy of the next one. So really enjoy that.
Yeah, just like we talked before, we're lowering the barriers to entry, and then this is all a part of that. That not only is it going to be a low barrier entry to get into racing through racing school, stuff like that, come get your feet wet and learn, but you're also going to have clear goals the entire way up to eventually, hopefully, bring a lot of people up to that Shack New and Splend level of pro racer and have lots of competition at the top, slugging it out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I think like it's a good thing to do these because we had paused the Stanton Cup, so we're kind of, I don't want to say we're back now with the division racing.
Feels that way.
It feels something, when you actually have your actual license, Pro AM or Pro. So yeah, really looking forward to it. I have my DNF buttons ready, but yeah.
Yes, you do. That's awesome. I see I messed up the list here. Let's talk about the upcoming division race first, Osasha's. And then
Yeah.
'cause I messed up the list.
Coming hopefully as soon as starting next weekend, right? We are going racing, division racing at Yadar, which for anybody that's hopped on PTR or even seen it, it's everything I've heard. This is either my new favorite track or one of my new favorite tracks. For me, it's not, it's definitely one of my new favorites. Super, super fun. Going to be really exciting to go see the new system in play and at a brand new track.
Yeah, it's a wild track, man. Better atmo than Snake Pit, and it's got that verticality, which is crazy.
Yeah,
Shaknu, you are by far the Snake Pit master. So let's ask you first. If you had to choose, which one would you prefer to race, Snake Pit or Yadar?
Yadar, yeah. And
Why?
I mean, I grew up watching the prequels for Star Wars, so I'm really getting the Mos Espa circuit, Eve Classic type vibes out there. I just love Daymar. So.
Let me ask you though. This is a question for all of you. If you could pick a Yadar with a Earth-like atmosphere, would you prefer that over what it is now? Daymar thin.
So.
Not me. I like it faster.
All right, interesting. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of denser atmospheres. I think they limit you more, and they both have obviously things to look out for. With Daymar, you'll overspeed really quickly. People are going to find that out with the M50 on this track. But with atmosphere, you wobble more. You're more turbulent, let's say, which is also very interesting.
I really like atmosphere compared to vacuum. I think it just adds so much more different dimension to the racing. Like we talked about, we come from Elite, come to Star Citizen, has an ammo flight model. We love it. But I really love that mix of like Daymar level atmosphere, so you really get the ship to bite in and stuff like that, but it still can break really loose. I find that so enjoyable.
Yadar definitely feels, at least to me, it feels much more like 0G than it does the heavy Atmo. So,
True.
For a lot of students, we haven't really been talking too much about overspeeding because we've been real focused on the thicker atmosphere places like New Babbage City Tour, Club Track, Lorville. So overspeeding, definitely want to watch out for that at Yadar. The thin atmosphere combined with the insanely top speed of the M50. If you're going full throttle, you're gonna crash. So
It's funny, isn't it? You hear people say, damn, the M50 is too fast now. And I might agree a little bit. We'll talk about the M50 later. But a lot of it is because they're testing it on Yadar, which is, like you're saying, super thin. And I mean, you take a Pisces through there and that also overspeeds. We were literally flying to Pisces yesterday. And because you get up to speed so quickly, you forget like, oh, I'm flying a Pisces. And then you try to arrest yourself and it takes forever to slow down, which is really interesting.
Yeah. So after Yadar, our second division race we're planning right now, we're actually heading back to the river. Slightly different than we did previously, though, right? Checking out these new cliff tech and all of the new stuff that's getting added to these rivers. It's going to be really, really exciting to go get a river V2 race.
Yeah, dude.
Star Valley run.
My experience with the new river is a screenshot. I've not seen any of them yet, and I'm so excited to go see them. But seeing those cliffs is so promising.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen them either, but I'm just saving myself. I need to see where I'm going to place myself also to actually reeling the little cats and stuff. But I cannot wait for it, and I hope that the dev that joined us last time is going to join us again for this one.
Wilhelm,
hopefully
that would be awesome.
Great.
Yeah, that would be super cool. So one thing we haven't talked about or decided or discussed at all is what ship we're going to fly at the river. I think we all really liked the Aurora because it's like a different caliber. I don't think we should do the Aurora again, but what do you guys have ideas?
I think a lot of it's going to depend on how it plays out, right? We're going to have to go kind of get eyes on and see if it's still whiny and tight. Whatever we fly, I'm expecting to see a whole bunch of those ships splatted against the cliffside, just like you saw with the trees. And I'm so excited for that.
I just want to hear I want to hear some opinions though. Like, let's say it's going to be similar, right? It's just going to be more wall probably, and maybe a little bit more blind. So if anything, it'll probably be slightly slower because it might be less wide and stuff in some areas. So with that, like Shaq, you're saying something small. Would you say like a P-72 would be too fast for this?
Oh.
Maybe it depends on how narrow it is and how twisty and windy it is.
Mustangs.
That's how I was going to say. I'm going to be a sadist.
Mustang.
Let's go.
It's definitely going to have to be something small. Something slower would be pretty cool because that elongates the time of that overtake window. And as viewers, we love watching overtakes. So I think we did like the Argo cargo race at the Snake Pit, and as slow as that ship is relative to the other speedsters, that was an intense race because you're real close to other racers for a very long time. So I would personally like something small and slow over there.
I'll come in and say the Pisces, possibly. That could be a good one.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
That's
Pisces
actually
is a lot of fun to fly.
Yeah, we haven't done any official racing with the Pisces yet, and I mean, we should. All right. Pisces is top of the list. Let's put it that way for now. 100
Billboy and Dirk saying 100. I wouldn't be opposed to 100. Everyone knows how much I love 100 series. Well, that's okay.
That's okay. I mean,
you want to see explosions
overhead than next to each other. That'll be interesting. So what other new tracks do we see? We got Yadar. We also have immense updates to Lorville Gateways, which is now Lorville Outskirts. We've got Euterpe seeing a whole outpost being built. We never really got together and discussed these. We have the Snake Pit with some minor changes. we can talk about that. And I'm missing one. We've got
Kaplan Stadium that's getting major upgrades and changes.
Yeah, yes, and of course
Yep.
our corp with
Yeah.
insane
Yes.
gates. Is
Yep.
that all?
And
Miners'
also Miners Lament at
That's right.
near Grimhex.
First
and
of
also,
all,
let's
the,
not forget for the snake pit. Yeah,
the
it's
missions
at night
though.
now.
Yes, it is. It rotates. That's right. So we've got missions, and they mention first. What was it again? For
We forgot one. Icebreaker. Yeah, we forgot.
No,
one.
you
Icebreaker.
turn-
What? Yeah,
I
what
said
was it?
that. It's-
First
Icebreaker,
popularized by the XGR
Yes, that's
racing
it.
team.
That's it.
Canonized.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So cool.
What a dream come true, for all of us. Like for CIG to lean in and give us that recognition, which we never expected or needed. It's just so cool that they've done it. But it really does. It feels like ours, doesn't it?
I was 100% convinced there was going to be no mention of XGR, no reference. I mean, and I understood it, right? So to see that suddenly pop up, it just blew my mind. I'm so excited that
Yeah.
canonized.
Yeah, exactly. Because yeah. I mean, it's true. I don't like saying it on stream, but kind of nice.
Too excited. Sorry.
Yeah, this was.
Yeah, no, it's
This was a
pretty
big
awesome.
highlight.
So, okay, let's run through them relatively quickly. So, first of all, we've got the snake pit. They have some minor changes, some new cranes. This is kind of based on racer feedback. Some cranes, kind of tightening things up. It was so funny. I remember when they did the structures, their first turn was slightly open. I was like, I know Shaqnu's going to ask me how far can I go through this? And he came with his Microsoft Paint pictures, and it was just so hilarious. And Nino noticed. I'm saying Nino. I don't know if it's Nino. That's a complete assumption on my part. Someone noticed and closed it up. So that's awesome. We asked for an extra pylon, which they created a whole gate, which is awesome. And then the coolest part is the final turn, which almost wasn't an exciting turn anymore. I don't know if you guys have been back since 318, but it's an actual bridge now that you have to go under, like an actual checkpoint. You can't run it really high anymore. You're forced down again. So it's added that whole extra bite.
Yeah, prior to all of the stuff getting added, before the snake pit got any work to it, that was one of the toughest corners because where we had a really strict height limit, you'd come into there and you basically had to skim your belly across the surface of that corner. So it's really cool to see that come back in some way, shape, or form for the last bite corner.
I enjoyed
Exactly.
I think they added a pylon at the pinch, so we don't.
Yes.
There's no question about height limit there.
Yep.
It's not a
really good.
pylon. It's an actual crane. They put a
Oh,
crane.
even better.
Yeah.
even better.
They so here's the thing. They put a whole crane down. They kind of put it slightly further in than we would have wanted. So the apex is kind of, you can go over that little hump. And so you're not forced as low.
Okay.
But I ran it a few
Makes it more
times.
of like
and
a window.
I think it's good. I like it.
Yeah. They also added a crane at Turn and Burn as well now too, because it used to be a pylon. Now it's a crane. So you know how people were kind of really up high and then take advantage of gravity assist acceleration. Now it's limited at least, which is really good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very true. Then, okay, so our corp, it's basically still our track, but incredibly well dressed up with gates. And the only big change is
Upper crisscross.
Yeah, which I personally really like it. It's really small now, which changes what it was. And it's probably, I haven't run it seriously, but I guess you'll have to slow down a little bit more to kind of tighten up your turn there.
Yeah.
What do we
Take
think?
it wider. Let's take it wider. Yeah.
And I think ArcCorp actually shows the evolution of the other tracks, how it's going to be with those hollow gates and everything else. So imagine having those now on the snake pit, which I think is coming soon when the Arena Commander update pops up. But actually having it in the live PU, just like ArcCorp, that's going to be amazing.
See, I don't think we've had CIG confirm that we're getting the same checkpoint visual style that we see or that they've teased in Arena Commander, that we're getting that in the PU, but I really, really hope so. And like you're saying, Louis, I hope that the ArcCorp checkpoint system visual style is like just a reference to the things we'll get in the future. Like think about Snake Pit having it. Think about Euterpe. Goddamn, Euterpe really needs some love in terms of checkpoint visualization other than just the antennas that you have to go through. What do we think of Euterpe? It's really, really big.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy where there was an actual checkpoint to go there when we first saw it in the PTU, and there's actually
Quantum.
platforms and all that stuff. So I think Shakhtar was talking about it, you know, and a couple people in the general where we're wondering if we will have ship spawns around there, or you know, just a little outpost right in there, because there are actually some garages. I think Speedweed said that, but
Yeah.
it's a massive structure.
I'm convinced
one of
we're
my
getting them.
Sorry, one of my favorite things about Icebreaker is prior to these changes and stuff, it was actually one of the tougher tracks to learn. It's all snowblind. It's really, you know, like Steve CC did an awesome job building the track. The flow is super fun. It's really high speed, but some of the markers that had to be used for track limits was really tough. So I think the biggest thing with this is it's going to bring tons and tons of new eyes and new people to come enjoy that track. And that's always a big win.
A very quick shout out to Steve. He created not only R-Corp, but also Euterpe Icebreaker. He came up with the design for these all by himself. Obviously, we went in with the community and we made changes and we made it even more awesome. But both of these locations are scouted by Steve, and he picked the general route. So kudos to him.
Yep.
There's
Two of my favorite
track.
tracks and my favorite track with R-Corp. With
He also made a track at the Garden, which a portion of it overlaps with Yadar.
Yeah,
we had the All-Stars there, and just whipping through the canyons there is just super fun.
Yeah, dude, that's so true. Yeah, the Garden track, he was like, oh God, I see there's a track coming in on Yadar. Steve is Evo. I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying. So he was like, oh, all right, well, I'll just hold this back now because, you know, there's no point. He was pretty far. We even raced it, didn't we, Shaq? We went racing. Yeah. So
Aurora's, that was fun.
Honestly, I think it's acceptable to ditch his track for Yadar because, Yadar is just so freaking cool. It's totally worth it, in my opinion, even though his track is awesome.
I'm a big fan of the natural checkpoints like canyons and big rock formations, and I think Yadar even has like the loops. Yeah, pretty much. So.
Yeah, you want pod racing. I get you. I feel you. Totally.
Yes, I do.
So what do you guys think about just the size of Euterpe though, or the what's it called, Icebreaker? I've mentioned this before. I think it's an awesome track, but it looks really comical when you're approaching it because the moon isn't that big. Because all the moons are like 1/6 scale or 1/10 or whatever it is, and then you've got this outpost which is like life-sized,
massive.
And it takes like up 1/3 of the planet. I'm exaggerating, but it's kind of too big, so I'm like kind of on the fence in terms of the aesthetics. But it looks kind of like, you know, I don't know if any of you played Space Engineers, but their planets are quite small, you know, and then when you put structures on it, it just looks kind of comical, like No Man's Sky. It's also small planets, I think.
Yeah, I think like even on that, after seeing latest ISC going underground, it's more like that could be a location where you actually go underground and have UGS. But of course, that would mess up with the track flow and everything else. But just to benefit of those big structures. But yeah, Ty, you were saying something?
I was just going to say, if CIG wants me to pay the consulting fee, here's your idea. It's just some cleverly placed volumetric clouds. Good to go.
You talk about consulting fee. Isn't that what we are? We're all just consultants, free consultants.
we just have an awesome, like CIG is just awesome, right? And actually listens to the community, showing up with not just us, but everybody. Yeah. So it really is, consultation, but in the best kind of form.
Dude, what a contrast with some other game. Keep saying it.
Let's not be named.
Let's not. Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow, that's a new ship. That's the Misk. Yeah.
Any other tracks? Did I? What did I miss?
Miner's Lament is a crazy one.
Yeah, inspired. Even that mission says inspired by XGR or something like that, which is like damn so cool. Osashis, you made Grim Hex track, which. You mentioned it before. You always imagined it would probably end up going anyway once we get the official Grim Hex track. So I think how do you feel about Lament?
I love it. I barely got to touch it a little bit much earlier on. I haven't recently, but it's really fun. Has some cool setups with a lot of the assets they've used and everything. So I think it's a really exciting 0G track. And the fact that they even mentioned inspired by like Grim Prospects and stuff is like, I'm just thankful for that, because it didn't even seem necessary. It's just they definitely made something of their own that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
You
What
can
about
go
you,
really
Shaq? You
fast
ran it?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran it several times. Could go really fast there, which is always fun in 0G. There's one turn, I think it's like a 90-degree turn or something crazy like that. It sneaks up on you too, so overspeeding, got to be careful with that too. And yeah, overspeeding's huge. You're just gonna keep going if you don't control yourself.
You know, it's
So-
funny. I think about you, Shaq, and I only really and only in my brain see you racing Atmos stuff, like planetary stuff. How many? Because even in Stanton Cup, we haven't done any 0G yet because we ran into the stutter
Kovalex.
issue. Ah,
We did
Kovalex. Did we do
Kovalex, yeah.
Kovalex
Yeah.
in the cup? Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know I was gonna make that one, so I didn't even practice for it. And then came right. We got back home like the night prior. I got a little bit of practice in the morning, so I'm just glad I did as well as I did there. But yeah,
Where did you finish
0G, I'm
again?
still. Oh, I can't remember.
Not
7th
first.
or 6th or
Yeah.
something. No,
if it was first, you would have remembered. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 0G is still something I'm getting used to.
Mhm.
But the more that I get used to it, I mean, the more fun it is, because Atmo is like, it limits you with speed and so many other things. But with 0G, once you get really good at it, there's a lot more room to be creative as a pilot. And I really enjoy that. So I think it's definitely a higher skill ceiling in 0G.
It's
I
funny,
got to
isn't
race
it?
Shaq on Scarlet Apex. Was that Time Trial Masters or something? He
Yeah.
kicked my pants off. So
Yeah.
he definitely
Yeah, I
knows how
was
to
watching.
fly in vacuum.
Yeah, I was watching that one. I think there was like a spectator cam, or I don't know what it was, but I watched your party markers go around, and I was just watching like every lap. I just saw like Shaq getting further and way further away, and just the gap just kept growing. And it just shows you that like 1 second difference per lap, you know. And then they were like, how many laps in, and it just obviously adds up. It was really interesting to see the.
It was actually funny because I was watching him as if he was behind me, even though he was leading. Because in my mind, it was, no, don't let him catch me. I don't want to get lapped. I don't want to get lapped. I don't want to get lapped. I got to finish this race.
That is too funny.
Because he was lapping everybody, right, during that one, for sure.
Right. Did we skip any tracks? Were there any other tracks you guys wanted
Kaplan.
to talk about?
Kaplan.
Kaplan real quick, 'cause it did get some
outskirts,
changes.
Yeah. So Kaplan, they did a really nice job with the dress up, I think, but the fold.
Yeah, it's a bit sad to lose the fold. It was a really fun kind of set of verticality on there that it didn't have before, but obviously they went and created a really cool kind of back section in place. It's a trade-off, right? But all in all, to have like the mission support for it and also have all this cool track marking, I think it's a worthy trade-off. But you know, we can lament the fold being gone for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. You
lament.
say for a while, like you're expecting it back.
No, I just mean we can grieve for a little while until we get past it, until
Right,
that
right.
part is healed.
Okay.
I think it's interesting what they've done. They've done a good job with the extension, let's say, but damn, do I miss the fold. The fold felt so special with that 180 break out of the chute, and then doing it again and then one more time, and it just
Yeah.
the flow through that section is very special. It's just something you don't really feel on any other track because it doesn't exist in that way. So I thought it's like a vertical chicane almost.
Yeah, yep.
I think we saw some overtakes happening there at the pro
Oh,
we
yeah.
had recently, which is always cool to see.
And then there is Outskirts, Lorville Outskirts.
Yep. Outskirts.
There's a lot going on there now.
Yes, it's
It's
very
busy. It's busy.
Is it
Yeah, I think
is
it's
it
the
too
first track
busy?
you unlock. Yeah.
Is it too busy?
I think at first to me it was, but the more I grind that track, I just subconsciously ignore things and I don't see things as much. I just focus on the really important objects.
You know what I'm seeing right
So-
now? I'm seeing the Tesla autopilot overlay. You must
Yeah,
have all
pretty
seen it.
much.
That's you. You know, all the little boxes, right? That's all
Yeah,
you see.
just filter out all the non-important stuff.
Yeah, no, that's. What about the lighting there, you guys? Do you think it's bright enough?
No, definitely not.
Yeah, probably not.
Super dark.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think
that's an
Shaq
interesting
can do
one.
it. It's muscle memory for the robot. So yeah.
Yeah, I personally like it for the most part, though. I actually like the increased sense of speed you get there. Some of those wide opens
Fair.
don't feel quite
Yeah.
as slow, so I dig that.
Mhm.
The one thing that was a little bit of a bummer is the drop, which was
Yeah.
such a pinnacle feature on any of our tracks, like probably one of the top 5 most awesome ones. It doesn't quite feel the same. I like the little
Yeah.
cut through the rocks. I think that's cool personally.
Yeah.
But the drop itself just doesn't have that
Yeah.
same punch that it did.
They just
It's a
need to add
shame.
like a natural rock that goes across both rocks to make it like a gate, like a natural
Yeah.
gate. That'd be
Why
cool.
couldn't we have kept the pipe though? Like, because they made the
I know.
turn. Basically, it's the same turn.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would have been really cool if we could have kept a drop because, like you said, right, you go underneath the pipe and you turn left, and you get the drop down, so you're forced to fly downwards. But then gravity is gonna say, okay, it's gonna take you longer to stop now, and then you have to like pull up into the checkpoint, and then you get all the crazy overtakes, and yeah, now it's just a big wide open turn, which is kind of a shame.
There's that yellow structure that was keeping the pipe up, and I'd always use that as a visual reference to kind of gauge how much I should roll, because you got to be like
Mhm.
past 90 to drop, but now I got
Yeah.
to relearn like a different visual
Yeah.
to go off of.
Yeah, that's one of those things, Shaq knew, just talking racing in general, that's so easy to miss, the having to roll further than 90, to kind of use your strafe up in the right direction. It's one of those
Yep.
things that you start doing when you get a little better at racing, right? Like optimizing where your strafe up is pointing, let's say.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of students when we start doing the roll pitch turns for the first time. A lot of them either don't roll enough or roll too much.
Yeah.
So it's always funny to see, like when we're at the club track, for example, and people are just nose diving down, and I'm like, oh, yeah, don't wanna roll that much.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think like, just to finish, I think there might be some changes with the lights and everything else, but also with persistence, you can actually, I think I did this with Turek, and we actually flew to Lowville outskirts and find those corners, and you can see the rest of the ships, the rest of the wreckage where, with the ceiling where everybody actually do crash. But that was pretty cool.
There's a funny picture recently about Lorville City being built around the track, and was it like a little house drawing or something?
It's from the animated Pixar film.
Up?
Yes, that's the one.
From
That's the
Up.
one.
Yeah.
Let's keep talking. I'll see if I can grab that.
Oh man, yeah, I should stop laughing when I saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah, me
it's
too.
too
That was
funny.
so
Yeah.
good. That was so good. Do you remember where it was posted?
Club Lounge, I think. I think
Right.
it was Club Lounge.
No, it's not. It's all right.
I don't think so, Darren. I don't think they built the new Lawville yet. They built some part, but what I was gonna say is, hello, Infuse. Nice to see you.
Speed, we
Hey,
just put it
Jason.
again in Club Lounge.
Hey, Jay.
Thank you, Speed.
But yeah, that's a good point with this though. While you're looking for that, like that's one thing that's kind of exciting for us, that some of these tracks get, all of this functionality added to them, because not only is it awesome and adds support and all that stuff, but it also probably adds a little layer of protection from planetary updates, changes to cities, stuff like that nearby them, to maybe they won't get just flattened out. It's awesome.
There we go.
I'm glad they kept the track though so far. So I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Whoop, just happened. But yeah,
Is that it for any other tracks? I think we
I
pretty
think
much
that's
got
it.
everything, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So really quick, I'll dip in. We just wanted to let everybody know we are doing a bunch of not really changes, but some updating to the way we're doing rule books. Those of you guys that were around for Stanton Cup, we had the official rule book for Stanton Cup. We're obviously needing some rule book stuff for division racing as well. So rather than kind of do everything standalone, we're going to basically have one Extreme G rulebook, right? That encompasses all of the blanket rules for Extreme G racing events. And then we'll have some addendum rulebooks for cup racing and for division racing. The cool thing about this is it makes it really clear that you can, just break down exactly where rules are found. But then also anybody that wants to run like community racing events and stuff inside of XGR, which people do all the time, and we love that. If you want a framework to build off of, so you'd have to do less groundwork yourself as far as rules, regulations, penalty, whatever like that, you can choose to, hey, I want to use the Extreme G rulebook and we'll build this off of the XGR's rule set for my community race. And you're more than welcome to do that. So it'll be really cool. All this stuff will get updated on racexgr.com really soon, as it's all ready.
This is going to be so cool because so often we get asked questions that are hard to find, right? And so often do you see people hosting community events and they'll say, yeah, we're doing Pro-Am rules. And it's like that always humbled me because it's like, oh, that's so cool. Like we do a thing and people are trying to kind of follow the same system and then everybody happens to understand what that means. So it'll be super cool to have, like, I keep calling it the master rule book because I like that label. It's like, this is the master umbrella over everything encompassing rule book. And people can just say like, yeah, we're using that XGR rule book thing. And, it has sort of all the basics with lap counts and ships and, all the workings, which is awesome.
Professionalism and etiquette. We've had so many races and everyone's just been really well behaved and following the rules, and race director. It's been awesome to see the maturity of the racing community.
Yeah. I'm putting that picture up real quick. We were just talking about it.
Hey, shout out to Shifty. I just saw you in chat too. And everybody's here. Yeah,
this is exactly what it feels like. I was laughing at this so much because Louis, you mentioned it, right? Lorville is getting the redux, everything's being redone, and the track is staying where it is. It's just so good. It's so good. I still don't know about the name, but
the whole point of this is Lorville isn't getting a graphical update. The track is getting a graphical update to its backdrop, just for the visuals. Exactly. It's all. That's the only reason.
Yeah, that is a good point. That is a very good point. I like that a lot. So with the rulebook changes, there are other things that need changing too. We have a lot of work to do. We've had a lot of questions about YADAR and track limits and track guides and updates and everything on SCR, because obviously with 318 everything is changing, and we're kind of using this opportunity to get our own house in order. So we are, as XGR, redoing all of the track guides and all of the rules for the tracks, and that means new track guide videos, that means new track guide images, and we will make sure that they are all the same, because when we grew up as XGR, obviously we saw lots of iterations and changes over time. And so now we get a chance to kind of pick a format, make it all look pretty and clear. And even though we haven't made a track like YADAR or Miner's Lament, we will sure make a track guide, and we are going to race there. So we will have some XGR rules and maybe some track limits, things like that. So yeah, that is going to be soon TM. It's just going to be an in progress thing. We're not going to drop everything at once. We just need to do it one at a time. And we've been working on YADAR behind the scenes, because that's going to be our first division race anyway. Yeah. So we've been secretly hashing that out. And we have a little sneak peek for you as well on that. Because, yeah.
It's coming. It's coming. The reaction in chat.
Oh. So this is what we're aiming for every track where XGR is racing. This will go on SCR, and it'll be in our videos. But most importantly, it's interactive. So you can go ahead and orbit this in its entirety. You can see where the start finishes. You can see where the track goes. We will mark turn names and things like that, so it's easy for you to talk about where's what.
Track
and
limits.
Yes, we did name the turn names for YADAR already. We talked to Nino and we said, hey, do you have any turn names? And he said, no, just turn numbers. I said, do you mind? He said, no, please do. So here, for example, you can see we mark some areas with these red corners. And that is, let's say, a track limit of significance, right? There are some general rules, and I won't go over them all now, but just so you know, whenever there is like a red thing like this, you know that there is something important that you need to avoid. Here we've got the rock. I've been calling it the rock island to everybody, and I kept almost calling it the name, which I wanted to not do it yet. Henceforth, this location will be known as the dealer's choice.
Wow.
So then we go, because these are all, we should go through them in order, right? We've got tunnel vision. Yeah. Then we've got Drifter's Hideout, because it's kind of, I mean, what's
reference to Drifter's Paradise for sure. Yeah.
But what's the hideout?
Because you're kind of tucking into a little cubby there, right? You go through a tunnel, you're kind of in that little cubby of all of this terrain around you can't really see, and then before you poke back out the next turn.
Shagnu, when you see hideout, does it remind you of anything else?
Other than Drifter's Paradise, or any.
I'll take that as a no.
180-degree turn at Snake Pit.
I'll take that as a no. So for me, when it says hideout, all I think is That's all I'm
that too, yeah. That's the perfect section for that, yeah.
So then we've got dealer's choice, because it's up to you, where you go around it. Then let's get a breath of fresh air, and then we make our way to the gate. And
those
after
are
the
my
gate,
favorite names.
We go up this stairway, and then it is up through heaven. And here you've got one of those really important track markers again, because this is kind of a gate, but it's open at the top, right? And we still want to limit how you take this, at least when you're doing an XGR race. So we've put these little corners here so that you understand that you can't go too wide or too far to the left either, right? You have to basically go between the fork as you pass through heaven. Then it's down to rock bottom, which is the chicane slalom section here, right, left, right. And this one we got a lot of questions about. We call it split decision for a reason. You can go through either of the holes when you go underneath this pillar. So this is probably the best route, but I'm gonna leave this up to Shaknu to design, to find out, because I've taken the large route too, or the wide route, sorry, and it feels good, but it's probably too much ground. You do carry more speed, but then if you do carry too much speed, you're gonna be wider here on the next section, which doesn't help you because you'll end up pinching this corner, which then makes the final turn really tough, which is called The Reckoning with a W.
The Reckoning. Almost the name of our XGR podcast. If you look on
almost.
Top, The Awakening.
It'll be the next podcast will be The Reckoning, right? Question, is this browser? Yes, this is entirely browser based, and this will be on SCR. So when any racer goes to SCR, they will get this right on the page. So this will be right there. We're using Sketchfab for anybody that's curious about the tool. It's it's free to use. And yeah, this is gonna be for all tracks, and this will really help navigate some of the more complicated 3D tracks as well. Think about Grim Hex and Beautiful Glen. It's all going to be there. Again, kudos to CIG and Nino for making one hell of a track, because this track is awesome.
Oh, yeah. We've got kind of a track list on Race XGR. Scuffed and links back into SCR, right? So we have a close partnership with SCR.gg that does all the time trialing. So that'll probably get updated on Race XGR too for our list of tracks. So.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Diplomat for that one.
Yeah.
He's been doing a phenomenal job over there.
Oh yeah,
we inspired him, man. Don't give him too much credit. Come on. He already has a
awesome stuff. Awesome stuff from Diplo, enabling all the awesome time trialing things that we've been able to do, and just all the competition, raising the level, raising the bar as everyone's pushing TTs in addition to racing.
And also helping you doing race directing too. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's so true. All the overlay stuff is powered by SCR, right? Like, Star Citizen doesn't have tools in game yet for this, so we rely on third-party tools, and they didn't really exist. And here we've got Diplo building a professional suite from his loft. But Ty, if we're on the subject of SCR, maybe we want to do a shuffle here, and you got
let's talk about that really quick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we got a little bit of stuff coming down the pike from SCR.
I'll be back.
Everybody's going, like actual players, so non-organizations like XGR and Atmo and whatever are going to actually be able to submit your own tracks. He's let everybody know that that's currently in like a closed beta right now, but it's going to be releasing likely in April. So folks that want to, have a real big desire to go design some tracks and get it on there and maybe host some races, whatever you want to do. The sky's the limit at this point. You'll be able to go design tracks, get on scr.gg, organize some stuff, have people racing, and if it gets a certain limit, I don't remember the exact specifications, but basically if it gets enough time trial entries and stuff like that, or raced with a certain amount of racers, it suddenly becomes an actual leaderboard track, which is super, super cool.
Yeah, and this is why you talked about the rules too, using the new rules from XGR and bringing it to your own track and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Was it 10 submissions to make it so you can get points in the leaderboard?
I believe so, yeah.
Yep, 10 runs says Speedweed. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And then as far as news that's really relative to what we do as well, we've been doing event signups through things like Google Forms and stuff like that, just using what we have. That's going to also be integrated into SCR as well too, and that's coming like April or May, to where we'll be able to do all of our signups for our events and do it up just more over on SCR, which will be an awesome solution for us.
It's right there. He's maybe not an official partner, but he is as official as he gets. In many ways. XGR is powered by SCR in so many ways, man. It's fucking awesome.
Yep. Yes, absolutely.
Definitely.
The drink sponsoring today's podcast is Pepsi Max Lemon. Maximum taste, 0 sugar.
Yep. And that's on your corner. In my corner is actually Red Bull, the blue edition. So the blue for XGR edition. So there you go.
Shaq knew WD-40.
I would say a can of dust cleaner. Yeah.
Dust cleaner.
Yeah, don't forget to lubricate your ships before you go out there and go to Yadar. It's a lot of sand out there. So.
And you had
what did bar and chain oil.
What did you have? You had Red Bull, I think, or Monster?
No. Rockstar.
Rockstar.
There you go. So a final point. Do I continue, or did you have more on SCR?
I was just going to say the last thing on SCR. I won't get into specific details, but he's got a lot of additional functionality coming for the SCR bot, which is going to be great for XGR Discord. Lots more integration, lots more information coming through automatically and stuff like that. So really, really exciting stuff coming from what Diplo has in the next few months.
Honestly, it's about freaking time he gets that bot working. I've been begging him to get this bot working for so long. It's my own fault because I placed these little seeds in Diplo's head. I'm like, hey, did you know you can do this with bots? And then he's like, that sounds interesting. So yeah, it's going to be super cool having SCR kind of like integrated into our Discord server, if you will, right? And for those that don't know, SCR does have its own Discord server, so you can join that too. The link will be somewhere on scr.gg.
The SCR website is super easy to find too. You just Google like Star Citizen Racing or Racing in Star Citizen, and it's right there in the front page. That's how I found racing in XGR. So it's really cool how accessible it is.
I still can't believe that you found SCR before you found XGR. We have work to do there.
Yes, we do.
Who picked this stupid name?
Speed Fleet.
So, Speed Fleet. Oh God, yes. Don't do it. I have another really exciting announcement to make. It would help if I had my shit in order.
I wonder what it is.
So, we with the Stanton Cup, we have exciting prizes. Many sponsored by CIG, and then there are some other things that are coming every now and again. One of them, even for the Stanton Cup, is Spectre making custom mouse pads. You can see it right there in the bottom of your screen as well. And I am proud to announce that for the races, specifically the pro races, we will be able to give away a free mouse pad to the race winner for the pro division races. And these aren't just like simple mouse pads, right? Like this is really freaking awesome because they come in many different sizes and you can print anything you want. I have one. I'll point my camera down in a second and show you. But these are freaking awesome quality. And they range from $40 to $70, if I'm not mistaken, depending on the size. And yeah, honestly, I could not have been happier with a mousepad product. And it's awesome that you can put your own picture on it. And the colors are awesome and it stays well. So I'm super proud to partner up with Spectre and be able to offer these prizes to Division Pro race winners. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's super awesome. The amount of just everything on top of all of the racing. It always comes with just a pride of being the best. But then when you can get prizes on top of it, it just makes it that much cooler.
So true, man. You know what I like is that I often hear people like Spectre and others say, oh, we love what you do. You're driving the community. You know, we're happy to do this. Like XGR is still relatively small. Like they're not gaining a lot from this. They're doing this because they want to encourage this growth in the Star Citizen community. They are fans, you know, first they are fans. And I just love that. I love that other people are also looking to build on it, like to develop it. It's just cool.
Yeah.
I'm on a tangent, but
sure.
I think it's just awesome.
You're good.
No, you're doing good. It's good. It's good to have that support, you know, specifically like Ty says, you know, on top of everything, we wouldn't expect, you know, all these sponsors and all that stuff to come in and say, hey, we want to support XGR and stuff. So yeah, it's a good thing.
We had 2 prizes for Division Pro races, I think. Ty, remind me here. Wasn't there something else? Yeah, we have some. Yeah.
Ship.
So for the Yeda race, we have a not yet determined ship pledge to give away to the pro race winner. So Spectre is every race. It's always going to be there. And I believe we said that this was for the race winner. Is that correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So this is race winner. And then we will sometimes see additional prizes. So for Yadar, I guess we're announcing that here, there will be a ship pledge as well. To be determined or to be announced which ship that is, but you better get practicing. Papa Freedom says
Definitely.
Game recognizes game. I love that.
Oh, hey, Papa
awesome.
Freedom.
And hi, hey. So yeah, Spectre, shout out to them. You know what? They are the absolute first that approached us and said, love what you're doing with XGR. How can we help? I just love that. This is before CIG was on board. There's nothing there for them. There's no gain at that point. And I just freaking love it. I'm so, it warms my heart, man. I think it's awesome.
Very, very candid approach and definitely a special place in our hearts because of that.
Hell yeah.
So.
Hell yeah.
That's how we've gone with everything XGR. Any partnerships we have, it's always been very organic, just, friendly relationships, people that are fans or people that work with us on things, whatever it is, right? And that's always been the point. We don't want to take anything too corporate or do anything too, seriously in the wrong way. This is all just part about growing our big family of XGR and everybody getting better at racing and enjoying it.
We're all just racers.
Yeah,
dude. All just racers at heart. That's it.
I don't feel a racer anymore these days. I'll be honest. I don't.
It's because you're washed up. I'm not anymore.
Amateurs.
I'm good, but you're washed up.
The king of amateurs.
The king of amateurs.
I mean, what's my last race? Did you just call me the king of amateurs? Damn it.
The pro-am at the club track several months ago.
Either that or Aurora All-Stars.
Did I not redeem myself since? Have I not redeemed myself?
No.
I don't think so. No.
Oh. All right. I got work to do.
And Ty won that exhibition race that we just said too. So
Black
It's
Bay's
funny
entering
though.
radar.
No, I can't. Well, I mean, so we did discuss, right, with the AM and the Pro Am not being, so the AM and the Pro Am not being streamed live, it gives us the opportunity to do some more racing ourselves as well. So, because we should mention, even though this isn't like fixed or set in stone, Shaqnu, you are going to be kind of the AM race host, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Even though you might miss the first one, I don't remember.
Most likely will miss the first one,
Oh.
unfortunately.
It's just the AM race, so it's no big deal. But yeah, we can all do it. But it's basically your baby, to herd all the student cats, which is awesome. It only made sense. It's kind of like it's kind of like the student showdown morphed into the division M race, right?
Yes.
Like that's how we started the approach for the division racing. We were looking at, so it's some history. We were looking at how to make everything official. So we ended up with, hey, student showdown is kind of like AM or AM. And then, how do we split the Pro Am and Pro into two different things? So that's kind of the history there. But so yeah, you'll likely miss it. And so, I mean, for the first one, I'm definitely going to be a part of hosting it. Osashis, I bet you are too. Luigi, of course, the one and only race director. I don't know what we're going to do if you at some point break your vocal cords or something, or die.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean,
we don't have a
life is
replacement Louis yet, so we'll have to.
Yeah, we'll just shut down.
I'm pretty
It's
sure
over.
one of you guys can
exactly.
do it. So, and I'm pretty sure someone in the community will also step up and stuff, and get under my wing. Be a race official.
Would you be open to that? Would you be open to having someone spotting?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Because something that we talked about too is eventually having somebody for track limits and stuff. And so far, Shaqnu's been doing it, and he's been helping a lot, also with setting up the grids. But yeah,
He checks his own track limits, right?
definitely, yes. It's like the actual real teacher. So yeah,
Cool.
soundboard.
Right on.
That's a good one, Steve. A Luigi soundboard. Yeah.
I think we also,
no,
White
no
on comms.
we also spoke about
One.
having multiple race directors as well, just having more eyes on, and that way we have more people on the DNF button, but maybe there'll be like a warning button or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that would be really, really, it would help Louis a lot, right? Because he's at the start line, just being really adamant about making sure that everybody that comes through the start finish, it's that's locked down and very accurate.
Yeah.
So
I think it's so easy for audience members to miss that the only reason the overlay works is because Louis is smashing buttons like
His
crazy.
iPad, bing, bing, bing.
Yeah. Oh man,
It takes
concentration.
high latency. So yeah, that's how fast can you go and do this? So yeah.
Lucky wife.
That is a good one. I hope she's not watching. She'll watch this later. But
Hi,
yeah,
Sarah.
there you go. Hello.
So one thing that I kind of wanted to talk about as we were digging into, and we had talked earlier about racing school and how that's brought all these new people in, is kind of talking about some folks that were standing out to us in the last few months or whatever that have a lot of potential and that maybe we haven't got to see a lot of racing from, but really curious to see as we go into division racing and the cup eventually comes back, see where it comes out. One that I wanted to bring up first of all, and this is related to the exhibition race that we were just talking about, the Cutter exhibition race, is Boltok. He's not exactly the exact same student thing, really, because he's more of a veteran like Hooner, low flyer, and stuff like that. But I was really, really impressed with just how quickly he picked stuff up at that exhibition race. And obviously, we've seen some time trials from him. Really, really impressive flying.
yeah,
Is he
he's
a
a master
student?
pilot.
Did he student?
Good question.
I think so. I believe so.
We got
How
a
large is
robot
that folder of
processing.
yours, Shaqnu? How many pages?
He just started processing that. Beep, boop, beep,
Yeah.
He's very
Boltok's
skilled
a
pilot.
veteran.
They're saying vet. Yeah, probably vet. But he was new, at least newer on my radar, at least a little bit the last few months. So I just wanted to mention because I think he's getting more into the racing scene. At least it seems like that. So I think he's going to be one of those guys to really watch out because he's got the pace of somebody like a Shacknew or a Splin. He's a really, really talented racer.
He's a time trial beast, but and a lot of that is because he's very smooth and confident in his piloting skills, and having that confidence also translates well in an actual race. So he's going to be someone to watch out for in the future races. He rarely
You're
crashes.
gonna make me say it. You gotta make me say it.
Just do it.
Cursed him.
Do it.
The
Sorry,
thing
Pokemon.
is, the thing is, you can be smooth all you want, but if you don't put your ship in the optimal aerodynamic position, you're limiting your maximum forward speed. So stop helicoptering.
I will say this. I saw a video from him a few days ago with doing a time trial on, was it Lorville? On the PTU. And it looked like a Shacknew run. Precision TDI
Nice.
alignment with the P72. Like it was
Nice.
a really, really
learning.
dialed run. So yeah, he knows how to maximize that. So like I said,
he's got
I'm
the
really
turns.
watching out for him coming in because I think he's going to be one of the guys at the top.
His atmospheric
wondered-
turns are on lockdown.
I wanted to mention that anyway, talking about racers and potential really fast guys. I've been so impressed seeing all the new students come out and they're all flying like Shacknew.
Yes.
They're
I think we
all
saw that from
doing,
Catholic too.
but it's so cool, right? Because like when it was just me and Osashas as the only ones that kind of put our videos out there for XGR, we could do anything we wanted and it was considered fast because there just wasn't really anything out there. And you can do a lot with videos to make things look fast, right? But it isn't necessarily fast. And then
but
we
SCR.
we had Splen and Shacknew come on the scene and show what is actually fast, and it blew my mind first seeing how much quicker they could be and how much the game that is Star Citizen Racing is entirely not what I thought it was. It's not necessarily always about tricording. It is about optimal TVI placement or nose placement versus TVI, whatever you want to call it. And seeing Shacknew go around the snake pit in those early days and watching him with the P52, I think, optimize it's like his turns aren't turns. It's point to point, right? It's like snap, snap, snap. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, honestly, I'm not a fan. I don't think it looks exciting, but it's the pinnacle. It's the way to go fastest. And so that is the right way to do it, right? And that is what Star Citizen Racing is right now. I think with control services, maybe some of that will change. I have no idea. But right now, seeing it that way, it was a big mind blow for me in seeing that it's not about applying retros into the tricord, drift through the turn, and spend lots of time with your crosshair off TVI and get ready for the next turn. No, it's point. And now to loop back, seeing all those students do the same thing around RCorp, it's so freaking cool. It's just so, I mean, Shacknew, I bet you feel, I don't know, what do you feel about seeing these guys do the same things that you do?
I mean, it's definitely humbling watching these guys get so much better at such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure all this stuff out, and to see these guys just get it locked down super quick, like 10 times faster than me. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Not 10
It just makes
times.
me
They're
so
not 10
happy.
times faster.
No, in terms of like learning it all and picking it all up.
Right. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
dude, that's so true. You would you say you've kind of had to learn it? How did you learn the fastest way to go? Is this just you doing it, or is this you taking examples from a Splen or?
Yeah, just watching a lot of replays through time trials, making observations. Like for the longest time, I remember when I was grinding New Babbage City Tour, and he'd always make it to Break and Snake before me, which was the first turn. And I was like, how is he doing this every time? It's just a straight line. And then like the little wide left turn. And then I noticed the TVI crosshair alignment. I was like, there's no way it's that. And then I started doing that, and I like shaved off so many seconds. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. So even in the early days, I realized that on straights, this was a thing because Osashis, I remember we did city tour and I would gap you every time on the straight. And you were like, how? Like you're a second ahead by the time we get to snake and break.
Break and snake.
Break and snake. You break and then you snake.
All right. You break and then you snake. All right. So I explained to you, I'm really focusing. I think I may have coupled. I think I may went coupled or I did something to optimize TVI optimization, let's say. But I never realized how much it shaves if you do the check new point to point thing. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Shake and
Shaq, out of curiosity, who's standing out to you right now? Like, do you have any? Obviously, there's tons of guys that are really impressing, but is there like one or two guys you want to talk about a little bit that have been really standing out that you're looking forward to seeing them in some more actual racing?
Yeah, there's probably a dozen students, maybe even a little more than that stand out to me, but two in particular that I think we're going to talk about here shortly. Billboy and Playing Fox, who's been going at it at the club track. Two very fast racers. And I'm curious to see how they do in races because racing is very different from time trials. And so you can't just pigeonhole yourself in one optimal line, right? You got to have more options out there because there's just so many variables during a race. And you also need to have your nerves just under control. So I'm curious to see how they do in the future racing events, especially Yadar coming up.
I see Billboy talking some smack in Twitch chat. Hey, just so you know, you're only as good as your last race. And your last race, you got beat by a washed-up old commentator, so you better watch. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's not kidding. He's not kidding. He's 100% truthful in meaning that. No, but that's a great point. I also, it was the first time that Playing Fox stood out to me as someone who is driving really fast. Was one of the races at Lorville. Don't remember what it was, but there was a race happening a few weeks ago, and I was watching his screen share, I think, and I was like, "Whoa, he's doing the Shaq new thing! Holy shit!" It really stood out to me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is one to watch." I thought that's awesome, and now they're just popping up everywhere. It's just so good, so cool.
When he first joined, I think he was flying mouse and keyboard, if I'm not mistaken. So he's still pretty new to the dual sticks that he's using.
Wow.
So for him to make that transition very quick, right? Like within 2 weeks, I mean, he was already, he was doing very well. So
I love seeing everybody pick up sticks not for Star Citizen, for Star Citizen racing.
Racing specifically, yes. So awesome.
What is the Shaq thing they keep talking about? Does anyone want to answer that?
They're talking about racing school.
Well, no, the Shaq thing is the way that he drives. He flies his ships. So I was mentioning it earlier. You can be drifty, tricordy, whipping your butt around every time, but you're going to be quite slow in Atmo. The Shaq thing is flying in a straight line as much as you can. And the turns are like flippity-doo turns, boop, 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 kind of like.
That's how I got the nickname. The robot was through the time trials at the Snake Pit.
The Shackbot.
It's like if you recorded all of the inputs from 1,000 runs and then put it through an AI that said, calculate me the fastest time. And then you macroed that and just did that. I'm pretty sure that's what Shacknu does.
That is exactly what Shacknu does. You know, it's funny you mentioned that because in those, what are the games, the roller coaster card games? You were playing it, Louis? With Sharkbait.
You mean Trackmania?
Trackmania, you can. It's really interesting. You can see all the world record runs there, and then they found out, by downloading someone's run, that what you just described, Osashis, is exactly what people do. Yeah. They edit macro because the physics there you can one-to-one replicate, right? If you replay a file, it'll do exactly the same thing. So they were making like millisecond adjustments, and they found out that if you press the button, the minimum amount of time that the computer program will recognize is like 0.2 seconds. random number here. But then in his macro, in his replay or whatever, it was 0.1 second, which was only possible by editing the stuff. And it's like, oh my God, people do go to those lengths. It's quite significant. Yeah. Sorry, again, tangent. So yeah, Playing Fox stands out. Bill Boy, of course, their battle. We'll talk about that in a second. What about you, Louis? Anybody standing out?
Oh, I think I want to say Professor Decoy. That's one for me. And also Dernk.
Dernk, yeah. The amount of improvement after the student showdown number 3 at NBCT, he's been improving a lot, and he's been doing much better. He's been putting in the hours. It reminds me of when Connor Riznick first joined, who's another one. The amount of improvement
I think you said his name
made.
wrong.
Oh
no, he said it right. Yeah.
Louis.
He said it right.
No, Connor.
He didn't get it.
Connor.
He said it right.
Yeah, Connor Riznick. Yeah.
DQ Riznick.
Oh, I thought you were going for Jared Riznick.
No.
Yeah,
DQ Riznick. That's the meme in chat now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Connor, when he first joined, he was going down a dark path, one that I went through, and I did my best to steer him away. And he's been doing much better. And by that I mean, only grinding time trials to the point where that's all you know, and that doesn't always translate so well on racing events. And it happened to me, it happened to Connor a lot, and several others. But so yeah, if you go down that dark path, get away from it. Don't practice upcoming events like a time trial.
Yeah, it's true. It makes a huge difference. Time trial running or race running. Speaking of our two boys, Playing Fox and Bill Boy, let's talk first let's talk context here, because Aaron, another one of the XGR community members, esteemed ground racer, not so much a ship racer yet. He set up this challenge, right? He challenged the racing students. Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah, he did when Shackner was away. Yeah.
He said, and this is really important, every time that big changes happen on patches, we reset the SCR leaderboards because ships change, tracks change. In this case, tracks really change, so everything resets. So he says, okay, there is a chance here. There's an opportunity for people to get their name on the top of the world record list for the Legacy Club track because it is going away. Kind of. It won't be there anymore, right? We're going to have, what's it called? Skyscrapers or whatever. So
something like that.
Yeah.
It's always a club track to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he made a great point, and he said, I'll put a deadline out 5th of March, which is is tomorrow afternoon, if you're in Europe. If you are at the if you hold the world record at that point, you earn yourself was it a Razor ship ledge?
I think it was a Razor.
Yeah, it was a Razor. Yeah,
base Razor.
But beyond just the fact that that's really awesome, I think this is just such a cool sentiment, right? Like he's so on point. Like you have a chance here, and your students, Shaq, have gone and said, "Okay, let's do this." So. Who was it? It was Playing Fox that held the record for a while with 133 high. I think
not the world record, but the record amongst the students. Yeah, at the time, I think it was
because you had the record.
Yeah, I had the record, and then I think it was Bolthawk and Splen, or Splen and Bolthawk Bolthawk and Splen in second and third. So, it's been super impressive to see. Like Bill Boyd always say, like, oh, I'm in 4th place, my 3 targets are next, right? Like I could tell he was really motivated. He didn't just want to win the challenge by being the fastest student. He wanted to win by being the world record holder, right? You don't need to be the world record holder to win this challenge that Aaron made.
Okay, good point.
And for them to not only, keep improving the 4th and 5th place times, but I mean, they're 1st and 2nd right now, which is nuts.
Yes. So we saw Bill Boy sneakily post a new run yesterday.
Yes.
Beating Playing Fox by, was it 2 or 3 tenths of a
It
second?
was like 70 milliseconds.
It was
or something
funny.
like that.
It was also funny listening to Playing Fox yesterday.
yeah,
coming
he was
into
like,
chat and like,
I gotta go back.
I gotta get it. Yeah,
I
I
gotta
gotta
go
get
back.
He's like, ah, shit. I hate this track.
He's like, after 500 gigs of footage just for this track, I gotta go back.
So many crashes. So we have the latest, and what we wanted to do was put these guys side by side. We've done this in the past, specifically with Osashis and myself, just to compare like how close we get. And we wanted to highlight how we are at the top of the game when it comes to Star Citizen racing, time trial running, when we are about to watch these runs. These runs are so clinical, so clean, so almost identical. It is mind-baffling to see how much time they put in and how the result is almost identical. So let's watch this. We'll walk through the whole thing. So we'll just let it play out without pausing, and then we can go back. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, sure.
So I'll play this, and I might make some mention of what's happening. Before I do that, I wanted to mention this. We're planning to do this more often. And so it would be really cool if you all could stop playing music on your video tracks, because I have to mute it. So, because all you hear is from 2 different people at the same time. Not fun. So we're planning to do this with time trials and with races. We are hoping to do this a lot with races. So it would be really cool if we could get some clean audio, because then we can hear vroom, vroom, pew, pew, which is awesome.
Check the leaderboard.
We have got 2 runs side by side here, Playing Fox on the left and Bill Boy on the right, both using dual stick VKB Gladiators. They're on the start line and they're ready to go. Courtesy again to Ninjetti for some awesome graphics. Let's watch this unfold. Both races are off. Billboy keeps it really level. Playing Fox does a lot more rolling. They go through upper crisscross, through lower crisscross there, and onto private parking. Look how similar their lines are. And look at the snapback to TVI, how close it actually is. There is practically no difference between their runs. It almost looks like the same run, one in daylight and the other in night. There are minuscule differences, but they are practically doing all the same things. Look at their boost bars as well. They are draining at the same rate. This is a 2-lap time trial. Final turn. They're both out of boost. So again, they are applying the same tactics. And now back to Waytech for a final lap. Keep an eye on the clocks as well in the top of the screen. They both have their own time. And let's see who comes out first. Private parking, again, they're just neck and neck. They're occupying the same space. Upper crisscross. The antennas. At this point, Playing Fox maybe slightly ahead.
Yeah.
Just a smidge.
Never happened here. Billboy
Here we
has
go.
more boost.
Yep, slight difference in boost. And there it is. We have Playing Fox across the line about 1.5 tenths before Billboy. These times are different from the times you see on SCR because we timed these to the frame using the proper start finish line, which is when you enter the gate. So we're giving you guys some time back basically. But we have Playing Fox currently in the lead, and Billboy saying congrats. What do we think watching that, gents?
I think
I'm
it
very proud of
shows
him.
the
Super
racing
cool.
school. I think that's what it shows. It actually shows the racing school because you can tell that, like you said, a bit of Shackno in there where, they're like very, very identical. So They didn't do any other classes. They didn't have any other teachers, and it shows a lot of progress. Seeing these guys from before when they just started, and then looking at them now. But yeah, we'll check the leaderboard, like you said. So yeah,
Yeah,
These are
so-
two
congratulations,
guys
folks.
that not only have been in almost every single class since they've joined, but they've been putting in the hours outside of class, right? The classes are just meant to provide you the tools and concepts so that you understand. But it's at the end of the day, it's up to you to really grind it out, put in the hours, improve. So, and these two
Yeah.
have definitely been doing that.
We can watch
From
these
me,
run
like
side by side. Sorry, Ty, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, for me, like the side by side is super cool to see how close. I love it when we've done that, with you and me in the past, even. But one thing that really stands out to me when you see, especially club track, everyone knows it's my favorite track. There's a lot of corners here that if you take them the proper way, they are 100% blind, at least for a brief moment, right? So you can tell when somebody has gotten really, really good and put in a ton of laps on a course like this, because you can tell they're taking those corners specifically blind, and that's the fastest way to do it. Terrifying at first, but once you get the flow and the muscle memory in, then it almost feels like
Yeah.
those sections you can do it with your eyes closed. It's really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
Right.
And for the record, so these are, as far as I was provided with them, the latest runs. So Playing Fox's run on the left wasn't on the board yet because I believe he did it today and just threw it my way before the podcast. So that one, I believe, he may have just put it on, as a matter of fact. So let's go back to the video, and I can pause it whenever we want. We can just compare and kind of see who is ahead at which points, and just through it bit by bit.
They both
So-
did one big difference going around this first building, and that's something to
Yes.
talk about too.
Yes, yeah. So I noticed that too. Mind you, so when they go off the line, they are identical speed. You can see their boost, it depletes at the same rate. They click it all at the same time. And maybe Shaknu, you want to explain what is the strategy coming off the line? Because we're doing landed starts, of course. What is the fastest way, the fastest method of getting off the ground and getting your gear up? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, basically just hold space brake and left stick all the way forward on the y-axis, and
Do you
as
hold
soon
boost
as
at the same time?
yeah, hold boost if you're landed start. If you're not in landed start, you don't want to hold boost because you'll start using boost without moving. So I think it also happens in 0G. So you don't want to hold boost unless you're landed. And yeah, just let go of space brake, tap on the verts a little bit, and start going. You can actually, I think you can even tricord, even in Atmo, using 3 thrusters for like the first second or two, and it'll give you a mega boost right off the start. A lot of people aren't doing that yet, even in Atmo tracks, so definitely something to consider.
Repeat that last bit. How do you get, what do you
Well,
do?
you heard it. Somebody
Yeah,
might clip
tricord.
that too.
Tricord right off the start. Yeah,
Right.
I noticed it when Bull Talk would do it. I'm mentioning Bull Talk again. He would do it.
Yep.
He if you pay attention closely to his new Babbage City Tour run, even though it's I think he's in second place, he gets to break and snake before me. And you'll notice he'll pitch down, and I'm pretty sure he's tricording because
Right.
he gets through under the first set of metro rails faster than me, significantly faster in my opinion.
Awesome. Let's continue walking through the route. Shakno, you were saying it's right on stream right now. We're seeing
Yep.
two very different attitudes.
Yep, you're gonna see Billboy yaw to the right to keep his TVI to crosshair line. So that was very interesting. And we always talk about how not to yaw in Atmo, but they still approach the club track tower basically at the same time, and that's probably because of the insane thrust to weight ratio of the P52 or the P52 Merlin. Generally, you don't want to yaw like that. For example, the 85X, right? That can't really control that. You'll lose a lot of speed doing that, but you can get away with it with the Merlin.
So here they are through. Is this lower crisscross? It is, right? That's
Yep.
what we.
Yep. Identical approach there.
Identical. Look at the frame. It's
Yep.
just, it's like spot the differences. Well, one has the sun up and the other doesn't. Let's look at their speed through private parking here. They
Both
are
kept it really
almost the
tight.
same.
It
Yep.
looks like Billboy is a little tighter, but Playing Fox is somehow ahead, and I think that had to do with the snapback of the TVI to crosshair that he did just prior.
Right. Their
So
speed
he was able
difference
to
is about 10.
He was able to maintain a little more speed, I think, on the approach.
Now here's that beautiful, getting the crosshair back as quickly as possible. I think they do a great job at it, doing the rolling.
Absolutely.
And then this is where we see the change, right? With ArcCorp in the new version, you have to stay between the two antennas that are now visible. But for now, they can go around that. Any comments on this?
Looks like Billboy went through it first on that one.
Yeah.
Look at this. There's just no difference. Maybe one frame at this point.
So they're going back and forth in a lot of these turns.
Yeah.
One's ahead of the other, then the other catches up. So it's cool to watch them, their ghosts overtaking each other, essentially.
It's just absolutely spectacular how it's not just their attitude is in the same place, their ship is in the same XYZ space as well. Their boost bar is the same. It's like almost a carbon copy in many of these locations. Here, I saw a little bit of a difference where Playing Fox was kind of, taking one extra bump to get his pitch in order.
Yeah.
But it didn't really seem to cost him anything.
Look how close he got.
Yeah.
That's scary to watch that antenna basically go. It looks like you decapitate yourself doing that.
So here, look at the crosshair placement, right? They're both doing the same thing. It's between the chimney and the building.
Yeah, speaking as just a racer, I have a hard time with this, right? Like my natural go-to is flying like an idiot. Just throw the sticks around, everything. This precision Shaq New style flying is something very foreign to me. That's not that easy. These guys are pulling it off masterfully, of course.
At this point, Billboy is ahead. Yep.
Yeah. But
This
look
is
at
an
Playing Fox literally
Yeah.
going through the structure.
Yeah, these are the blind corners I was talking about before, right? Like at this point, you're blind for a
Look
second.
at
You're going
that.
on pure instinct, and he's literally cutting into the difference between the mesh and the collision that's a little bit inside of it.
And for those that are not aware, at the skyscraper at 318, you can no longer go through those. Those are now physicalized.
Perfect.
So going
perfect.
through those is going to be even harder. You got to watch out.
So they've
Awesome.
both run out of boost. They are, again, same attitude, same position. Who reaches the track first or the start finish? I mean, I daren't call it at this point.
I don't know.
daren't call it. So we'll keep going. And I think when they approach Waytech now, they do kind of the same thing. I want to say Playing Fox rolls a little faster, or at least his initial roll is, but it's just minuscule differences. And then at this point, I want to say Playing Fox is just slightly ahead going through Waytech here.
Billboy has slightly more boost right now. I'm curious. I guess, it doesn't matter too much.
No, it's a great
Yeah.
point. I think they both so there's no gain really at this point anyway, because they both let go before they run out. So let's see when they both start reapplying. But you're right. At this
can see-
point, Billboy is
You can see
slightly...
Billboy saying they use Boltox boost strategy.
Oh, that is fascinating. That's really cool.
That's interesting. That's awesome.
So, yeah, Playing Fox maybe 2 frames ahead here.
Yeah, I think at this point, Playing Fox stays ahead for the remainder of that second lap. The second lap being the harder one because you don't have as much boost as the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can already tell. Billboy does catch up a little bit because he has a little bit more boost at the very end, but Playing Fox stays ahead.
The difference is absolutely non-existent. To answer the question, where do we stop the timer? Literally, the second your head is between the first point of the buildings, basically, like the doorway, I guess. And we do our absolute best to frame reference it. It's always hard. It will always remain hard. But I'm pleased to say that even in a case like this, you can still kind of make sense of it.
Yeah. Yep.
One more time here, playing it as they cross the finish line.
Just by a nose.
There's just no difference. So, man, I have loved this. I had prepared this video the day before yesterday. Then I made the mistake of mentioning it in chat, and Bill Boy posted a new run, and then Playing Fox just released this run, so I had to go and redo it. But I look forward to doing these every time we go on XGP. Every time we get together, we're going to talk about these time trials. We're going to talk about split screen racing. So this is a question going out to every racer, or a request. Record your runs. When you're doing racing, record them, please.
Yep.
You have to anyway. If you ever want to report an incident or whatever, you're going to have to back it up with footage anyway. Or if someone points at you, you want to be able to prove that you didn't do anything wrong. So record your footage. It can only help. Even if it tanks your performance, find a way, capture card, something. But find a way and send us the footage, and we're going to ask you for footage whenever you have any close racing, because we want to analyze it. We want to highlight it. We want to show how good you do. And this is going on the YouTubes, of course. So get them out there.
We want to show off your skills. Yeah, absolutely. We want to show off whether it's your skills, whether you want to show off your progression, right? Like, we just want to showcase everybody, because that's the whole point of this. Get better at racing and then show off our stuff. All of us have a little bit of cockiness hiding away that we want to show off exactly what we can do.
That's why we do this, right? Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and also a great thank you to Ninjetti for the overlays on top that we had for these side by side. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be using them again with the PTV track exhibition race, so that's going to be fun. Moving on, just to keep the flow here, we planned a merch update, and it's very it's very dry. We don't really have
we just
a lot.
started doing that. Yep.
So, man, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but again, the goal is to make sure we do something special. We want good merch. We don't just want a few t-shirts with an XGR logo and then call it a day. Yep. We've looked at a few different platforms, and we weren't necessarily very happy with the apparel quality and choice and selection. So we just haven't decided yet. We want to do it right. And when we have found the platform we want, we're going to reach out to some of you to talk about making some designs, because we need help. We want to make sure that we have some seasonal merch. I want to talk to Brizzo about using his amazing logos that he made. Steve was just asking, can we get a Snake Pit t-shirt? Well, we've got some amazing art from Brizzo that we would love to use for art, for merch. And also with the tracks that we're building, we can do these beautiful track layouts, right? And I've been posting them in chat the other day, just to kind of tease. They look awesome. The Yadar one and the Snake Pit one, they look so cool. And we would love to put them on a t-shirt or a pin or a badge or something. So yeah, track silhouettes are super sexy. Yeah, dude. So we want to do this right. So we've got step one. We're still looking for the right platform. We're looking into 2 right now that might be interesting to us. If you have suggestions, do let us know. Send me a DM, whatever. And then number 2 is making sure we have the right designs. We don't want to just throw an XGR logo out there and call it a day. It's got to be special. So suggestions, throw them our way. We did also look at jackets, just to answer something that Dirk mentioned in chat, because we would love to do like a jacket with patches, but we haven't been able to find anything that is, let's say, either good quality or affordable. You know, like it's either like $400 for an awesome jacket or $60 for a really bad one. So we haven't been able to find something that works. But Luigi, you made a great point, right? When we have, even if it's just patches, people can put them on their own jackets too.
Yes.
Yeah, people can get a cool bomber aviator jacket of their own and slap all of their awesome XGR patches on it, and it'll be sweet. I mean, that's what I would do, or will do, if that's
stickers.
Yeah.
Put stickers
mouse
anywhere.
pads.
And we want to have
mugs.
We want to do, and this is kind of like merch, but also kind of not. It's kind of separate. We want to have like an ID card that you could get when you have your license. And we don't know quite which way this will go, but the way I personally see it going is that we provide you with an awesome design. Like when you get your pro license, you get your digital card, and then it's up to you if you print it or, you know, pay for it to get it on a card or something like that. Just have to find out how to do it the right way, but we hope to do that. So that would be cool. You can get your tires or your
I will say Maze and I have sat on our hands for this for too long, right? We know everybody wants merch. It's going to happen. We're committing into making it happen. So it's in progress. Yeah. Louis and Shaq will keep us honest. So it's going to happen. We're going to get some awesome merch out. Really excited.
Definitely. Yeah.
So we got a whole bunch of feedback things that we recently opened on XGR on the Discord. And
yes, we
talk
do.
About them, I guess.
Yeah, the first one on our list was we opened a feedback on racing missions, right? Everybody's so excited about racing missions, time trial missions, and PTU. So far, it's been interesting to see that whole system kind of get a little more stable. It's still maybe a little shaky, but really cool that we're going to be able to go and have fun and actually make some money doing time trials on our tracks.
There's been some interesting feedback even today on our Discord about the race missions. So where do you guys stand with the race missions? What is your opinion on what CIG is doing with race missions right now, the future? Like where do you stand?
I think it's a good start. I mean, I'd love to see missions that have more than one lap. I mean, I know this is all brand new, so it makes sense to just do one lap for now, but definitely something to build upon. Quarterly tournaments, I know Nino mentioned that in the chat, and I think I read it somewhere about, I think it was one of the SCLs or ISCs where they talked about having live events, dynamic events happening in the verse. Yeah. So something more alive would be super cool as far as race missions, not just a time trial, right, but actual events where people come together and race each other. That'd be super cool.
That was the SCL, Shaq, where they mentioned that. It was the mission dude that was talking. Forgive me, I don't remember who it was, but they mentioned the impromptu mission things, the dynamic missions. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yep. For me, it feels like a tier 0 implementation, right? It's kind of patched together, but it works, and that's fine, right? I'm just happy to have something in. This gives them something to build on. We know Star Citizen is always an iterative process with anything new they bring in.
Right.
It's just really cool to see that racing has a tier 0 start in the game. We're starting to see assets in. We're starting to see the baseline mission stuff, and I think it'll only improve over time.
Right, and something even as simple as hollow checkpoints, that's going to help the newer people who have never done racing, just knowing where to go next. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
And we see that at Skyscraper, and right now we see like the little blue diamond or whatever it is. So it's a start, but would love to see, something more defined on all the tracks. And we saw some art. I think it was Yadar that had some hollow checkpoints, which is super cool.
Yeah, so that's the thing. We know they are coming to Arena Commander, and then I guess the hope is that it comes to the live PU as well. Like it has to.
I'd be very surprised if it doesn't. They haven't committed to that, but I would be very surprised if they put in all that work and do awesome stuff like that and not bring it into live as well.
Yeah, I'll reiterate what I've said many times. I think for the tracks that we have now, well, okay, let me phrase this correctly. Look at Euterpe Icebreaker. That is not a legit racetrack. It's an outpost. So it wouldn't make sense for there to be all these holograms that make it look like a racetrack. So they have to be careful. With R-Corp, they've kind of done it anyway. And I guess the excuse is, well, it looks like R-Corp holograms, so you can get away with it. But I think CIG should look at this like these checkpoints should become activated when you need them to be activated. And so they can be available to a pilot even in the craziest locations. Think about a track on another moon, which has no geometry around at all, but just holograms, right? To send you through canyons without anything other than holographic checkpoints. Well, they would look out of place. So they should be toggleable, either tied into a mission or some kind of racing suite, if I can be very demanding. But in some way, you'd want to be able to say, okay, these things don't exist in the world all the time because we don't want racing to feel like this is not official racing, in the lore sense. So then give us a way to use the Mobiglass or our helmet projection or whatever to project these hologram checkpoints whenever they're needed. And some other civilian won't see them. I'll be racing through them, but they don't see them because they don't have them enabled. So you would get so much freedom then to make racetracks wherever you want. And hell, I want access to that tool, man. I want to build racetracks.
Me too. Oh,
I want to put checkpoints down. And if they are only visible to those that subscribe to the thing and toggle them on or off, well, you always say it, Ty, the sky is the limit. The space is the limit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So let's do it. Let's do it right. But
Heck yeah.
yeah, sorry. Again, on a tangent, I do agree though. Missions, this is tier 0, man. This is just the first step. And there will be so many exciting things to come, I'm convinced. Multiplayer racing, all that stuff.
Anybody
Louis?
have anything else on race missions?
Yeah, what about you, Louis? You're quiet.
Oh, yeah, I'm actually listening to you guys because you guys actually say the stuff that I'm actually thinking about. But
Perfect.
since we're always on the same page sometimes, yeah. But yeah, I think it's it's pretty good because it actually, you know, also it brings more people to racing. It actually shows up this highlight, you know, and also, you know, it's right there in your Mobiglass, just like, you know, any other missions or like this PI missions we did yesterday that we haven't checked. So it's also going to help with new players because coming from Star Citizen, when you get to Star Citizen the first time, what you do is check the Mobiglass. Where's the missions, right? People sometimes are looking for that, you know, hold my hand. What do I do next? So I think that's a good point, you know, versus us where we're more emergent gameplay. Hey, this looked like it could be a good track and stuff. But yeah, definitely.
Underground racing.
Yes, let's do it. That'd be exciting.
So another one that we had a feedback thread about as well was the new stopwatch that we're going to have integrated in. Time trialer like Shaq knew, right? What's going to be the potential implications of that compared to using something like Live Split, which we're very used to doing for our time trialing?
Yeah, I love that this stopwatch it's not in your face, but it's still something that you can easily spot, right? I was afraid that it would be like a massive watch that takes over the cockpit, but that's not the case at all, right? I use Live Split and I just have like the little timer in the top left of my screen. So to be out of the way but still noticeable is nice. I do like that. Visibility is huge.
To me, it still felt like the little bit I fiddled with still feels like just like the mission's very tier 0 implementation, but it's one of those things, like I said, that now that it's in the game, it's only going to get iterated upon and get better over time. So super excited to see where it goes. Anything else from either of you guys? It's not, you know, just a little stopwatch, so it's not too.
I think
thing to talk about.
Well, go ahead.
I think it still needs work for sure. Happy with anything T0. I know a little bit of the background. I know they've been like I imagine they've been inspired by what the racers are doing and them seeing Live Split and then wanting to put something in, which is super, super cool. And in general, I do think the stopwatch is very limited right now. And I wonder, you know, Shaknu, I guess you're the best one to ask for this, but right now, like with Live Split, you press a hotkey for starting and stopping. So I guess that part is the same. But do you ever find yourself in Live Split using it for multi-lap, right? Because right now you don't have that option with this stopwatch. If I just pick up my phone, right? Most stopwatches, digital stopwatches anyway nowadays, they'll do multi-lap. Yeah, you know, they'll do like multi-lap, right? So it's like a lap button. So you press it and then you get a lap and then you go on to the next lap. So you can just keep going, right? So and then you get the delta. So you see green or red or whatever. I would really like to see that on this thing. So it does lap count.
Yeah, it'd be cool if the stopwatch in game could somehow save your record split times within the track, and you can see the minus 0.1 or plus
whatever
5 or whatever.
Yeah,
It'd be cool to see
I
that.
think the other thing was it's not just for the tracks because like Ty said, it's a great implementation end game to have, because I think when I first had Live Split working, what I did was like, hey, I'm heading from Microtech to Crusader, and all I did was just use Live Split and just kind of time myself going from this place to this place, or doing this mission and that mission. So it's going to help in doing more stuff, and kind of timing yourself, because specifically Star Citizen, with IRL stuff, you're more like, hey, how long does it take me to do this or to get from point A to point B? Yes, there's websites and stuff that have all this calculated, but just for yourself to know with your how you fly and all that stuff, how long does it take me for my fuel to go out? So it's a great implementation so far, but definitely need a lot more work. But it's good to have.
For sure.
Yeah. And so the last one that had kind of come up in the past few days and got a lot of talk is the big changes to the M50 on the PTU. So actually, we got a recent change, I think just the last couple of days as well, that have kind of addressed some of the stuff we were initially talking about. But either way, it's a massive difference from what we had previously. What do you guys think?
Well, I hope that it becomes more meta now, because it's a racing ship. So it's kind of weird seeing a luxury ship like the 85X dominating a lot of the open courses. So if we see an actual racing ship dominating, that's absolutely what it should be, right? Other than the Razor and any other racing ship that may come out, 350R. So this feels great though. I think I flew the M50 for a couple hours today. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Felt good.
I haven't gotten to try it yet on my own sticks, my own slackerness since I got back into the States.
Try it yet?
I haven't. So my one chance to try it was
Such a
before the most recent
slacker.
change and on Maze's goofy sticks, goofy Verpals.
They're not
But it felt-
Come on. Verpal users
Floppy, say
unite.
floppy Verpals. Floppy.
he likes his springs very very loose, and that's
They're
it's
the
just it's a
default,
different
dude.
setup.
They're the default
they-
springs.
Oh,
we
really?
talking-
You didn't have
you're
your
gonna-
Cosmo cams on?
You're gonna
Yeah,
get me on
Cosmo
another
Cams, but
tangent
default
with
springs.
all we were talking about
Okay.
sticks, because
Yeah.
it
So
was very
I've got the
interesting finally getting to try them out.
default springs. Oh god, I should do
She's
that.
showing us the left stick, not the middle stick. Yeah, there you go.
The middle stick.
See, look at those floppy
Yeah,
suckers.
See how it wobble.
Oh,
there you
yeah, I love that.
That's the way you fly, dude. It's the best. This is where the
Oh,
magic
yeah.
is.
It's a lot
That's
less
it.
strain ergonomically too. You
Yeah,
could
dude.
practice for hours like that.
Yeah. I have never. Yeah, sure. I've got nothing to compare it to, but yet.
go. It was great to see it when we went over there to actually see how it feels. But yeah, keep going, Ty.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's the only time I got to try it, and it was before. So we had some really weird behavior when you would roll. It was like doing falling off of the TVI and rolls and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Apparently, from what I'm hearing, that's been fixed.
It's fixed.
But I can't
but so
confirm
Yeah.
it myself.
I
didn't notice
forgot
it.
this. You flew the weird one. Because I kept
Yes.
telling everyone in chat, like, dude, I flew the thing, and it's like, my TVI wasn't just doing the sideways thing when you rolled; it was doing like pitch down and away.
Yeah,
it was really,
exactly.
really strange.
It's like a forced corkscrew as you're rolling, which was
uh-huh.
super, super goofy feeling.
That's
So,
weird.
yeah, anyway, it was fixed. So that's, I don't know if it was a broken ship on my part or it updated, but my opinion on the M50, I think you have to answer this question in two parts or with a disclaimer, everything that we have right now isn't staying, right? We all know that the ships that are as they are now, and this is not just racing, but also, combat or anything, shields, weapons, everything is going to change. And when it comes to flying, the flight mechanics, there are entire systems that aren't in game yet, like the control services, master modes that is coming. So everything is going to change. So with that out of the way, I'll kind of answer it for the now with what we have now and what we want to see for ships now. And I haven't decided yet because I think everything is fine. I love the Razor. It's like a drifty, slap it around, get your
Oh,
shoulders
baby.
out, basically. Yeah, and I love that. The M50 and maybe the P52, P72, they're like aerodynamic flyers. They really need you to roll and pitch and not do any aggressive yawing because you're going to really start like yaw wobbling and stuff like that. So I like the M50, but it's very fast on the mains. So like it raises the question, how fast do we want ships to go? Because we kind of want all ships to somehow, and talking racing ships, be competitive together, right? So they have to be sort of the same top speed, sort of the same turn radius and turn speeds. You know, one can be slightly faster, one can turn slightly better, but somehow they need to be competitive with one another. And so you have to make sure that an M50 isn't too fast and a P52 doesn't turn too fast, because then, you know, either one is going to be too quick. And so I don't yet know where that balance is, but I will say I don't think they found the balance. Shaqnu makes a great point with the 85X. It's out there. But right now, the racing ships are not at a competitive place. We have to reinvestigate all the ships for the Stanton Cup too, make sure we get the pool right. I like the M50, but it's hella fast. I'm not sure if we want it to be that fast. Look at Yadar, right? CIG is kind of hurt. They shot themselves in the foot because they did Lorville Outskirts, which is a big track in an Earth-like environment. So it's really large and you fly relatively slow. And so the sense of speed is mostly lacking. Then you've got Yadar, and the Snake Pit, which is really tight with thin atmosphere. So you're already going faster and you've got structures close together. And suddenly the sense of speed is incredibly significant. Where Yadar is still fucking massive, right? But it doesn't look that big. It just looks like normal sized. So then the question is like, are they being smart with it? No, they're not. By putting Yadar on a thin atmosphere track and Lorville Outskirts on an Earth-like track, they're shooting themselves in the foot when it comes to sense of speed, because Lorville will feel extra slow and Yadar will feel extra fast. So how fast do we want things to go? That's kind of like, we don't know.
Yeah, I think
Zero.
we'll also have to see. Even also, we'll have to check this again, even with the introduction of IFCS or master
I want to
modes.
add,
but yeah,
I want to add, because like Sacredis as well, he says, but Yadar is fun because it's thin. Of course, dude. I'm not saying it's not fun. I love Yadar how it is, but from a host perspective or for an audience perspective, tiny ship, massive track. Filming it, you can hardly see anything. And when people pass each other, it's basically just party markers passing each other. There's nothing. And I don't know if you've seen the river race. For those that haven't, you need to go check our highlights video on the river race. Slow ships, tight environment, the most spectacular racing you've ever seen, because it looks like ships passing other ships. And when Bear Commando accelerated on that straight and couldn't stop in time, it was the most... Like you could feel it. You could feel the sense of speed. You could see the delta between these dudes as they were going across the line. And you don't get the same thing on a city tour or a Lorville Outskirts or even a Yadar, because things are just too big and too thin atmosphere, so too fast. So I'll be the first one to say, I think ships should be a lot slower. Give them more limitations. Make sure that they, I'm not saying I don't like it fast, because I do. But if you want really serious competitive esports level sim racing, I think you need to slow things down.
On the proper track and with the right, camera angles, the Argo Cargo can look really, really fast.
Yes.
From the
And it is,
spectator's
dude.
perspective.
And it is, right?
If you take it to actual
Freight
miles
yards.
per hour, it's fast.
550 mile per hour before boost.
yeah.
Going through the
Even
containers
same-
through
the
that
cutter.
chute at freight yards. I mean, it feels like you're going really fast, even in the cutter.
Well, you are.
The problem I have is I'm
the cutter's
like,
even faster than the Argo Cargo.
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You're saying time?
I was going to say the problem I have is I'm kind of torn in half, right? As a racer, if I'm just looking through it with my own selfish eyes, I just want to go faster, faster, faster. Give me the M50 times 1.5 like it's going to be, and let me go 1,000 meters per second on these Atmo tracks, because I just want to push it. I just want to slam my sticks around. But then, because I'm commentating and casting and filming this stuff, I see the other side of the shoe where we're trying to make a good production for people and make this fun to watch. And if it's just, like you said, party markers going across the screen because everything's so tiny and so fast, so we've got to find this balancing point where we have really, really fun time for the racers, high skill ceiling, lots of room for people to grow and get really good at that top competitive level, but also something that can be produced well and that we can actually cover reasonably with the tools that we have.
Yeah, there's got to be a reason why racing Argo cargoes around the snake pit or the freight yards gets people grinning the widest smiles, right? Because they go, oh my God, I'm running 6 people in a group across the straight, and the straight feels like an actual straight, you know, and you have more time to absorb in all the racing action. And Shaknu, you made a great point earlier. You said the overtake feels like a real overtake, you know, because it takes time and
Yep.
You're not just whizzing by someone so fast. Feels more like an F1 overtake.
Sorry, Shaq. Yeah, that's so true. Billboy asks a important question. I'll ask you guys. Do you guys want master modes to require racing in SEM speeds? I think he means, do we want to race in SEM speed or QCM speed?
It's hard to say without going through all the tracks first.
Doing it
at SEM speed.
Yeah. Well, we know that based on maybe some of our feedback, QCM is getting boost, right? So more than likely you will be racing in QCM because you'll have boost. Just no shields. Well, we don't have shields equipped anyway.
I think for master mode, there's still so many unanswered questions before we actually say, you know, it's a better way to do it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Optimally, I would like it just being balanced and feeling good in QCM mode or whatever they call it, right? I would not enjoy having to arbitrarily limit racers into combat mode for racing. So I hope that's not the way it goes, but we'll have to see what we get.
Yeah. Shaknu, is your arm getting tired yet?
Oh, I'm switching between arms.
I've been watching your camera wobble for the past hour. What happened? Did your makeshift mount give up?
No, my I'm using my phone, and it's running low on batteries, and it's an iPhone, so the lightning charger sticks out vertically, and if I try to prop it up right now, it'll just pop over. So I'm just holding it.
That's commitment right there.
VKB sticks or the purple sticks,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually just training my arms for time trials later. So.
Speedweed makes a great point on my control services. Of course, I forgot about that. That's gonna change everything too. Sacratis says Miata racing is some of the best racing IRL. It's true, dude. It's like when things have low traction and they're slow. And yeah, I watch a lot of Goodwood racing. I'm not sure if people are familiar. Lots of classic car racing, which is also super spectacular because, you know, very loose chassis, low grip, fast cars. And sometimes it looks faster than Formula One, right? Like it's interesting how that works. But talking about the future, race dates, we've obviously announced already when we're going for Yadar. So go to our Discord if you haven't yet and you want to race. Make sure that you have at least a student license. Go to the racing school to get one. And then come race Yadar. Come race the PTV exhibition race, which is open to anybody. 1v1 tournament, prizes. So come join. Stanton Cup. TBD, to be discussed. We still don't know because hitching is still a significant issue. When we go to Beautiful Glen, Shaknu, you're saying you barely felt it. Then we've got other people, myself included, saying there is still significant stuttering. So it's on the fence. We'll have to see what we do. We're going to go enjoy division racing. Everyone's going to have a great time. And for now, we will just keep the Stanton Cup parked until we can get it back out there and have the likes of Shark Bait, who is currently leading the cup, if I'm not mistaken. Not for long.
Another one to watch out for.
What, you say that,
throwing shade.
No. You say that, Shaknu. Shark Bait has not been around. He is not practiced. And when I see the likes of Playing Fox and Bill Boy and what they can do, I think everybody that has been participating in the Stanton Cup, you included, has some watching out to do.
Some competition.
Can't forget, Shaknu is a participant, a competitor in the Stanton Cup too, of course.
Yeah, I can't remember what place I'm in, 3rd or 4th. I think I'm tied with Speed right now. So, yeah, behind Diplomat and Sharkbait. Yeah.
I'm throwing some of our links on stream. We have a website, of course, racexgr.com. You can find the rule book there very soon, and most of the information on our tracks and stuff like that. We've got our Discord, racexgr.com/Discord. If you aren't on there yet, come and join us. Even if you're just a racing fan, and you're not racing yourself, come and hang out and talk. And we've got a whole bunch of social media, Instagram, the Twitch, the Twitter, it's all there. And finally, we recently opened a YouTube channel. So we are YouTube at Extreme G Racing, because we've kind of split it away from Black Mace and gave it its own proper place. So all the highlights are going up there, race highlights. These talks we'll cut up and put up there. So go subscribe and make sure that you stay in the loop with race announcements and prize giveaways and all those things. So yeah, go there, do the thing, and don't miss out.
Definitely.
Heck yeah. Great times.
It's been such a pleasure to have everybody here together on Luigi as our race director, Osashi's as awesome XGR founder, Shaqnu as race director, or I keep saying it wrong, racing school instructor, race host, epic inspiration for many, robot, all those things.
Yeah.
And myself, washed up racer.
Humble Black Mace.
I know how you feel.
I'm just being inspired by other racers like Splen and Bull Talk, and I'm being inspired by just watching all these students, man. There's a lot of them. Flippadip's another one we haven't mentioned yet.
Yes.
Yeah,
very true.
right.
Yep.
He qualified for the pro at the Kaplan Pro-Am, and unfortunately couldn't make it there. He had some IRL stuff to deal with that night, but yeah, Kyle the Kid's probably going to make a comeback. He's been doing really well at the student showdowns. He's another very smooth racer with experience. Who else is there? There's Tint, who just overtook the Ahumahi leaderboard. So, yeah, there's a lot of racers out there. Ninjetti, Keith T, iMonster, Kelsar, Dexter, Totorex, Scuttled. I
Bear
probably
Commando.
just cursed everybody now. Bear Commando.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just leveling out the playing field right now by mentioning everyone's names and applying commentator's curse. So
I will say though, these guys, they really need to get they need to practice. Don't just show up with time trial experience only. You gotta go practice these things with others. Racing school is a great place for that.
Yes.
practice in groups and have multiple racing lines.
Yeah.
Get used to the party marker soup since it's still a thing. So
Yeah, definitely. And
we're
also
going to see that in the Crux Cup.
learning how to wait on the track until the go ahead. That's a big one. So, yeah.
Yeah, so people start getting real nervous. Just waiting.
Yeah, definitely. And also would like to thank everybody that is also in our Discord helping us with stuff. So I won't mention names, but you all play a big part about it. So yeah.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
As always, we have like the best community out there, regardless of even talking about Star Citizen, but gaming in general. Such a positive, helpful community. You guys all rock.
Couldn't agree more. All right. With that said, we'll be back soon with XGP sometime in the future. No dates. Just keep an eye out. And Yadar coming up very soon with 318. Looking forward to it. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir.